so alive. Coffee in the morning, it is the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, opened the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the coffee, wake me up, shake me up, dip me like a lassie. 1 sip, 2 sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it is the best way to survive. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the coffee, wake me up, shake me up, dip me like a lassie. 1 sip, 2 sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the coffee, wake me up, shake me up, dip me like a lassie. 1 sip, 2 sips, and I'm feeling so alive.
Good morning. Welcome in, Forrest. Welcome in, Sirius Black. I'm glad you guys are here. You're here early. We'll see if we get anybody else in here with us today. I hope you guys have had a good weekend. Survived the storms if you were in their path last night. I fared pretty well. Give me a sound check. Can you guys hear me okay? You guys hear me out there? Or do I have something turned down? Let me see. No. Okay, good. I'm like, I got my headphones on. Everything's turned on. Okay, Pokemon. I know you. You got a busy schedule, honey. I know you do. You're perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. We appreciate you. All right, so I'm flying solo this morning, and because I got some shit to say, and then we're gonna review a few things as well. Um, I watched an interesting. Y'all know who Anjanette Levy is? Do you know who she is? She's with Law and Crime. She has her own YouTube channel as well. I've always watched her content for for years. I've followed her on different things, but I've always liked her. And now that she's on YouTube, because you know what, these mainstream media people are finding YouTube's where it's at, right? So they're coming to YouTube now. We got Ashley Banfield over here now. We got Benny Politan over here. We got Anjanette Levy, and that's fine. There's room for all of us. But I enjoy her show. And she had a pretty good live last night. She brought up a couple of things in that live that we've already discussed here and tried to put together. So I found it interesting that she did the same thing. And there was something else she brought up that we're going to look at. But before we get to that good stuff, there are some other things I do want to talk about. Give me 1 second here, though. Sorry, I had to chew up something here. So you guys been all over these YouTube streets this weekend? A lot of controversy about it. A lot of folks mad because it got released. A lot of folks mad because it got leaked. A lot of folks mad because of this or that. I don't understand it. I've had people DMing me, telling me they have proof that Steve Gonzalez leaked it to Gray Hughes and Drunk Turkey. Like, I don't care. Then when I got sent the link, It was a news link that I'd already shown on our channel, and not one time does the man say, I leaked this to Drunk Turkey and Gray Hughes. They assume that he did because he received it ahead of it being put out there, right? And so all people who were claiming this is AI, this is fake, this is illegally gotten, this is when it didn't work that it was AI, then it moved into, oh, it was leaked. Now we're going to email a bunch of people. And you know what the whole goal of those emails were? Was to get the prosecution in trouble for a leak, as if the defense couldn't have leaked it. Because let's be honest, who did that 911 call benefit? Nobody. Not in my opinion. It doesn't benefit Kohberger to have it released, and it doesn't benefit the state to have it released. It's a just damn 911 call. It is what it is, and so if the prosecution leaked it, it was coming out anyway, and the same people mad because it's out are the same people who for 2.5 years was mad because it wasn't out. So it's like, y'all need to make up your minds, and I can't stand flip-floppers. Stick with something. Stick to your guns on something at some point in time, right? You can't scream for 2 years about a gag order and how you want to hear that 911 call, and the minute it is released, you're claiming it's fake or it's leaked, and now we're going to get everybody in trouble. You didn't care about getting in trouble when y'all were out there putting out garbage about the case. Y'all didn't seem to mind Linda Lane got leaked because you didn't focus on the white sedan. You focused on a weird-ass black truck. So you didn't care about that leak. Now, leaks occur all the time in cases. Ask Delphi. Ask Murder Sheet. Shit, they're the authority on it, from what I hear. So get your big boy pants on, your big girl pants on, get your thick skin. Welcome to True Crime on YouTube, where things get leaked. Are we going to fight about them all day? I'm not. I'm over it. I don't even want to discuss the 911 call anymore. That's how over it I got. People have been trying to put transcripts together, over what we're hearing. One thing I will not do here ever again is play in any enhanced anything. I don't want nobody sending me their enhanced versions. I don't want people sending me links to other people's enhanced versions, because it's enhanced, right? Everybody's hearing different things. So you got Gray Hughes over there crowdsourcing information, which is a good idea. Who heard what? Let's piece it together. Does it make sense? Found somebody else did the same thing last night, released their version of the transcript. It doesn't match Gray Hughes' transcript. But I do know one thing. I heard the word when Emily was speaking to the 911 caller. She said, we live in the whites. And I knew it was the word whites, but everybody told me it was the word to the right. That's not what she said. She did say we live at the whites. If you Google the whites apartments in Moscow, Idaho, guess what? They come up Queen Road Apartments. So obviously, Hunter and Emily were in an apartment in Queen Road Apartments, not 1112 next door at the Blue House. People on YouTube, as of 2 years ago, assumed Emily lived in that house without any proof. So I'm no longer interested in debating that call, what the girls were doing, why didn't they do this, all this stuff. It is what it is, obviously. Unless you're going to blame the roommates, stop analyzing the damn call. Stop analyzing why they did this, why they didn't do that, why'd they say this, who said that, who said what. Does any of that matter at this point anymore? Apparently one was heavily intoxicated. They were texting. Things are going on. We don't know what the hell's going on. We're young. We're naive. And we don't know any better. And at some point you got to accept that. But I'm not in the mood anymore to sit around and analyze that damn 911 call. Because it's not going to change anything. It doesn't change what happened inside that home. It doesn't change the DNA on the sheath. It doesn't change a white sedan being all up in the area numerous times. It doesn't take away this white sedan showing back up the next morning. None of that. And I just got last night, I'm storm watching last night while reviewing all this shit that was coming out. And I'm like, wow, I couldn't even sleep last night. Not because of the storm, because thankfully it didn't get that bad down here, and I feared it wouldn't. Got a little bit of rain and wind, but boy, they got tore up in Mississippi and Alabama. So prayers to all those people that were affected, because it was horrible. There were intense storms dropping all night last night, because I was watching it all on max velocity while looking at some of this true crime shit that was coming down. And it made me sick. We're not going to do that over here. And I got news for anybody listening, lurking, alt accounts who come in to spy on me, because I know you do, for a certain person. Welcome aboard. Thanks for the view. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out the damn door. So anybody that comes into my chat in the future and wants to bring stuff over they've heard on Tommy Jude, Lana, Rory, Bubbly Waters, Jules of all trades, Jay Umbre. I have nothing personal against any of those people. I don't agree with their content. They will not agree with mine. But what I won't put up with anymore is people coming into this chat and trying to make us feel like we are uneducated about this case, or we don't know facts based on what people who have been proven to be liars in the past are telling you right now. Now they're trying to tie the rideshare driver to Delphi. Like, don't piss me off with that. Do not piss me off with that. Because when the Odinist stuff come out, oh boy, TikToks were made about how Odinists were responsible for Idaho 4 as well. Now we got, the private rideshare driver. His family lived in Indiana, not far from Delphi. He was probably involved with Delphi. Y'all need to go check out Viviana. Let me get her link in here, because I'm like digging her shit lately. And I've actually got something to show from her. Because I never wanted to be a call-out channel. That was never my game. But apparently, it's sometimes your hands forced to do some things. Let me grab this link for you guys and bring it to chat. Because she's very fair. She's very good at debunking some of the bullshit being put out there. Let me, where did my chat go? Come back here. Okay, this is a link to Viviana, True Crime Channel. She has some great content over there. She does a really good job at debunking some of the bad information coming out. And I don't know if that's all she does over there, but she's doing a really good job on it. And she's not like all up in your face with the drama crama shit. She's an intelligent lady who gets her point across without having to be rude and nasty. And I just think that it's time. The way I do true crime, and if you go look at my Delphi content, and I want to make this very clear, because people have it, not anybody, this is not directed to any single person in chat, but people have a problem. Some people have problems with the way I view Delphi that never really looked at the case. Well, the problem is you never really looked at the case, okay? Here we look at cases. We look at the court documents. I'm not interested in the YouTube street rumors. I'm just not. In fact, I will probably start debunking them as fast as I can when they happen, because I think it's a sickening thing happening out there. And we got people out there, we showed the part about Tommy Jude making up the part where Maddie flushed all those drugs. That rumor caused so many problems in this case, it wasn't even funny. And that wasn't the only set of rumors that were made up by these content creators behind the scenes to put out onto their channels to get you to come and watch, click, and like. And now they're even muddying up the waters more and confusing more and more people. Well, I'm not going to play that 911 call because it was not gotten like it was supposed. Bitch, you didn't care. when you were putting out false information all over the YouTube streets about Chris Watts and how he did not murder his family. Somebody else did. You didn't mind going out and making a little video pretending to be his dead wife, putting a white mask on your face looking like a damn skeleton, talking about, oh, I'm having a baby announcement party when the lady was already dead because her husband killed her and their 2 little girls. But you went to bat for that guy, tried to find all kind of GoFundMe to support his defense and everything. We're supposed to believe you now about Idaho 4 content. Give me a fucking break. Give me a break. Like, I don't even want people coming in my chat anymore bringing that stuff to this chat, because I will stop my stream and I'll address it head on with the person who brings it in here. Because the thing about me is I do got a couple of great mods, but my mods know I've never given them any rules to follow. I've never said, hey, if so-and-so comes into my chat, time them out, do this. I don't do any of that. But I think my mods are smart enough to know when to time somebody out. But they're going to start getting instructions from now on certain things, because we are cultivating a community here of like-minded people who want the truth based out of court documents. Well, no matter where that leads us, right? I got issues with the investigation on Idaho 4, but not to the extent where I think they got the wrong guy. It's not like Delphi. We don't got a bunch of missing interviews recorded over bullshit, lost tips forever. None of that is happening in Idaho 4. So I don't see why we can't base what we talk about coming out of court documents, even if that's analyzing a 911 call. But you can do it with integrity and respectfulness, without bashing families, without bashing victims, and without bashing the survivors. I don't get it. And everybody can have their own feelings about the damn 911 call, but I'm slap over it. I know what I heard in the call. I'm not interested, like I said, in hearing any enhanced versions of anything. I've done seen multiple transcripts come out. I don't want to read them. I do not care. I heard what I heard on the original, just like I wanted to see the original Bridge Guy video without enhancements. So I'm done with enhancements over here. I don't, can we trust the enhancements? Can we trust the people doing the enhancements? Are they adding in stuff, taking out stuff? You be the judge of that. There's already those accusations flying all over the YouTube as of this morning. Somebody else claimed Bubbly Waters has one of her friends who put it through some kind of thing, and boy, they're hearing all kinds of stuff. You wouldn't believe the stuff they're hearing on that 911 call that none of us heard. And that's dangerous, because they're going to go out and try to convince a whole bunch of people who can't think for themselves as to what they're hearing. And they're going to come over here and tell us, y'all are wrong, you're hearing it wrong. I'm not doing it no more. I'm focused on the investigation. Like the fact that and I don't know why the investigation part people don't really want to talk about too much. They only want to talk about the drama, right? I'm not even a drama person in real life. Take that shit elsewhere. I'm not the gossip girl. I'm not the neighbor going to sit out in the yard and have coffee and shoot shit about everybody in the world. That is not who I am. What I do want to talk about is some things like when Cy Ray gets on the stand and testifies that the FBI did have access to certain records before May. So the argument, and I'm here for it. And those are the kind of things I want to do going forward. I'm just, I got so disgusted last night, honestly, looking at all the random stuff out there about the 911 call, who's putting out what, the weird transcripts coming out, everybody having a different opinion on what's being said and why. We all have ears. We hear what's going on. A chaotic phone passing around thing. And we're never going to understand some of it. And I learned a long time ago, like 30 years ago, I will not stress myself out over things I cannot control, right? I listened to the call. I evaluated it. I took away my takeaways, and I'm done with it. If you guys want to hear it again, you know where it's at. It's on the replay here. Mainstream media's got it all over the place. And I, like I pointed out, I knew Daniel and Gray would drop that before mainstream media, because that's the whole fucking point. You don't get your hands on something and then sit on it knowing the others are going to beat you to it. That was part of the grifter game on this aspect, was just that. Let me put out that I got it, tell you what it said, then I'm going to set a goal. If I get enough super chats, then I might do a question and answer session. Guess what? I can do that every single time I go live. I got a little button right there that says goal. All I got to do is click it. And YouTube wants me to encourage you to send me super chats and me offer you something in return. Like what? That I'm already giving you right here, right now, right? I engage with my community. I stop. I read comments. I try to conversate with you guys about it. You don't got to pay me super chats to get your comments highlighted. You don't got to pay me for question and answer sessions. You don't got to pay me for some backstage pass bullshit. I think that's where grifting comes in. I have no problem with the YouTube channel being supported, I guess financially or whatever, if they are doing it, say like Michelle After Dark, for instance, doing it with integrity and bringing the facts and bringing the receipts and calling out the bullshit when necessary. She deserves a super chat. She deserves a sub. Not these other people. Because the whole point of saying, I got the call, I'm going to tell you what it said, come back tomorrow and hear more. Well, by God, they're going to come, aren't they? But I also got to play this right and watch mainstream media and make sure I get it released before they get it. Because then what good's it done me? None. So don't think for a second they were never going to release those calls. They were going to. They just did it in a teasy way to get you over there, get you hooked in, and to get you to come back. And I got no issues. Well, I won't say I don't have issues with some people, because some people, they've caused the issue because they're just jerks. I really don't have an issue with Gray Hughes. I guess I really don't with Drunk Turkey. If he, I made my video, it is what it is. But I don't agree with the way they went about doing the call. And it wasn't because I didn't have it and they did, none of that kind of crap. That's besides the point. It wasn't about that. It's about now people are pissed, and out there calling Gray and Drunk Turkey liars. And like I said, I got these DMs telling me, oh, well, Steve Gonzalez leaked it to them. It's proven. Go over here to this YouTube channel and watch. Do they have a receipt? So I was linked to the, actually, I went and done some research, found a post by somebody. So I'm like, I've already played this news clip on my, I gave the 911 call to people. Nowhere. They assumed, since Steve got it began, that he gave it out. So what if he did? It was coming out anyway. People can say what they want. I produced the Whitcomb email, where they are not a media company, like somebody on Twitter was trying to tell me. They may be something to do with media, but my understanding, from what I Googled and looked up and searched on their business page, they are a Whitcomb 911 call center based in Pullman, Washington, contracted to handle calls from Moscow. And they put out the email, and I posted it to my community tab, explaining in detail how they went about getting the permission to release the tape. Of the audio. I can't. Welcome in, Dolphin. Need some Z's. Welcome in, Joe. I'm just, I had to have a little rant this morning because I'm tired. I was up all night. I couldn't sleep good. Some of this shit was really bothering me. Some of the things being said were bothering me. Uh, the back and forth over this 911 call, it was starting to get on my nerves because I don't think any of it matters. I mean, it matters, of course, but why are we spending so much time trying to analyze a call? It reminds me of everybody spending a week and a half analyzing Linda Lane without looking at the real picture of Linda Lane. So are we missing that here as well? Because we're so busy trying to figure out, is there something nefarious going on in the background? And according to Bubbly Water, there's a lot of nefarious activity going on in the background. But then again, that's Bubbly for you. She'll give you a screenshot in a heartbeat of a blurred out picture and tell you exactly what you're seeing. And I've noticed, because I've visited certain chats lately, I see the people in those chats. What are y'all doing? Are you just trolling? Like, for real, what are you doing? I see you coming into my chat and saying one thing, but then I see you in another chat saying a different thing. Are you just trying to fit in no matter where you go? Because over here, you don't got to do that. You can just come in and be you. And if you got a sensible argument or a debate you want to have, that's fine and dandy. I am your girl. I'll debate you all day long. Hope you don't get mad, because I don't get mad. It's a debate. You've been in high school? You ever been in a debate club? Any of y'all go to college? Can we not have a heated, discussion and walk away and be friends at the end of the day and agree to disagree? If not, y'all's babies okay? Y'all raising them good? If they're not being taught the tools to do that in the adult life. Because it just reminds me, what's wrong with America's youth? Well, look in the fucking mirror. Parents, look in the mirror. Are you a bully on the internet? Are you out there putting out lies all over the internet about dead victims? And you're the same person screaming, what's wrong with kids today? Apples don't fall far from the trees, do they? Yeah, Joe, I'm not going down the religious aspect of anything. There's not. The social media is a whole different breed. It's a whole different disaster. There's no similarity, in my opinion. The only thing is, over here, here's what I thought happened. After all the hoopla of all of the Facebook drama between the political bullshit finally died down, they had nowhere else to go with all their conspiracies, all their fighting. Ooh, we're bored. We're still at home. Can't go nowhere because that pandemic shit. Let's go to YouTube and check stuff out. Oh, we can take our conspiracies here because people here believe in them. And now they're all going to do that. I'm not doing that here. I don't believe in organized religion to begin with, so I'm taking religion completely out of the conversation. I just think it's a whole, and I told you, Joe, this back when Delphi, there was a major stuff going down on the streets of YouTube. And if y'all don't think for a second that prosecutions and defense attorneys leak stuff to YouTubers, you're crazy. You haven't been around long enough. You haven't seen enough. I absolutely know for a fact things were leaked from prosecution in Delphi and the defense in Delphi. There's a lot I know about that stuff that I don't talk about. It's a whole lot about that. And it was disgusting and it's ugly. And I just don't, I'm so over all the drama that people want to bring to these cases. Like, I can't anymore. Just because I felt like Rick Allen might be the wrong guy, let me reassure you, I based every bit of that information straight out of every court document I read. Not off some rumor off the YouTube, not out of somebody's stream with 1,000 people in there all ranting and raving and cranking the internet about he didn't do it and I just bought into it. No. That's not how Salty rolls. I'm going to go look at the documents, read it for myself, and determine for myself what I think. So every single thing I've ever said on Delphi was based out of a court document. Everything I'm going to talk about moving forward with Idaho 4 is going to be based out of court documents. And I said that when I started my streams and when I did the first Kohberger show. So all I wanted to do is say, just people can, be you, do you, come in with your difference of opinions and all that. But when you start bringing the shit you've heard from them other channels over here and trying to argue with my community members and me that we're wrong because, Jay Hombre's laid it all out, you're going to be gone immediately. Because you're disrespecting me, you're disrespecting my community, and you're disrespecting victims. Because at this point, any of you who listen to Hombre or any of the rest of them that are telling you they got it figured out, you better be typing into that chat, have you sent it to the defense? Why would they not? Why would they only come out on YouTube and tell you? Because you're going to like it. You're going to watch it. You're going to go tell all your other friends all about it. Meanwhile, Kohberger's still sitting in jail. Innocent man, according to y'all, and y'all ain't done a damn thing to help him with all your information that you've done obtained. It's ridiculous anymore. So let me pull up something here I want to show you guys. I know a lot of you follow Drunk Turkey and Gray Hughes, and I'm not like just I'm annoyed with them, but I'm not telling you not to go watch them. Y'all go do you. They're not horrible. Their content's not always horrible. I did not agree with Gray Hughes on the Delphi case, but so what? Drunk Turkey, I agree with on the Kohberger case. I don't agree with some of their tactics. That's all I'm saying. So it ain't like I got it in for them guys. I just didn't like what they were doing. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, I want to show you an example of this bullshit. And I'm only doing it because I just want you guys to be completely aware of all these different things. Don't trust any of these enhanced audios coming from this 911 call. If you do, that's on you.
Here I come now, let's play hide and seek. Prepare to be packed. Here I come now, let's play hide and seek.
Something so horrible, but this needs to get out there, and it needs to get out there fast because someone's got to nip this in the bud. I think nip it in the bud, is that what they say? I think bite it in the ass is what they need to do. What you're going to be hearing is a recording of the 911 call, but this 911 call is going to be run through however she does it. This is True Killer Crime. She runs it through something, and you can hear the voices better. You can hear things that they've scrubbed out that you normally cannot hear. And this is going to piss you off. It certainly does piss me off. Yeah. First of all, why didn't they talk about it like everybody says? Why didn't they talk about the red stuff? Why didn't they talk about anybody else other than Xana, except for when Dylan says, poor Kaylee. Was Kaylee in the same room? That's what I want to know, because there's also something else in the other room, too, from what I can tell. That is a pretty ticked off indeed. And you're going to hear it because we didn't hear it on the 911.
5 a.m. 42 seconds, November 13, 2022.
911 location of your emergency. is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122. What the heck?
Now look at the words on the screen, because that's what this is what they say they hear on their enhanced version. Is no, Jeff, get down. Anybody hear that? Because I sure didn't. Only enough Jeff's in here. Jeff, apparently she used one of your layer bullshit things. I don't want no more of that sin either.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
Now, every time she pops Murphy up on the screen, she's trying to tell you there's a dog in the background. And I did not put Emily's photo out there on purpose because she's an innocent girl. But here she is all over the damn internet again.
What's your phone number?
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates just passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah.
And are you with the patient?
Now look, or could it be Emily or Emma? Those of you who know who Emma is. Now keep watching.
Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, but we gotta go check. But we have to. He just passed out.
Are Demetrius and Emma there too? I don't know, Bubbly. Tell us, are they? Now, female says, don't fuck with me. The male says, it'll never happen. Did someone just get bit? Let go, Mike? I mean, what the hell? None of us heard that shit.
Oh, no, what's wrong? He's not waking up.
Yeah. Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you. What's wrong?
Now look at that. Is someone trying to cover up the growling by breathing heavy over the phone? Covering up Murphy's growling. What the hell? Why?
Okay, and how old is
Wow. Can you believe this shit? Right, Forrest? Right?
she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20. Here's one.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is he breathing?
Hello?
Is he breathing?
No.
Okay.
Please talk to them, Faye. I can't talk to them. They need you to talk to them.
Hello.
Okay.
Now, as far as we know, they had no bird in that house. Nobody had a pet bird. Where the hell are they getting this damn bird from?
I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again. There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We don't have it. I can see it. Do you have a defibrillator?
Yep.
Yes, you have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Now, I'm not familiar with True Killer, True Crime. Something tells me I don't want nothing to do with that mess. But this is the kind of stuff being put out there. People are hearing by other creators, and then they're going to want to come over to other chats where we try to fairly evaluate the call and be telling us we hear and all this stuff. Maybe bird is supposed to be code for someone. Really? I don't know. What her interpretation, bird is they said the bird made a fucking mess. Now, was that a reference to, were they referring to the bird as the killer? I'm confused. I may need to get you up here often to tell me what you mean, because I don't know if I'm not sure I'm interpreting it correctly, and I don't want to misinterpret your statement. Maybe bird is supposed to be code for someone else was involved. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if someone else was involved or not. According to Brian Koberger, he was out riding around alone, and Ann Taylor hasn't, she's brought up the planted sheath idea, so I guess she thinks somebody else was involved. She hasn't come out and said anything about who. No alternate suspect yet. They don't need idiots making up crap about them, or even analyzing the shit to death. I mean, my brain can only do that for so long before I get bored and need to move on. I wanted to play you a little bit of this, because I'm going to speed it up a little bit too, because I don't want to be here all day with it. Let me get it where I want it. Let me see if that'll work. Okay, this is Viviana True Crime. And she's got this piece out that I wanted to play for you guys. Now, remember, I went over the other day about Tommy, Jude, and Rory. She's going to do it
situation. They don't even know her. But, Tommy's been told. Tommy's been heard. Oh, she's not quite right. Give me a break. Step back and think how you would feel if somebody was saying this about one of your children. I don't think Tommy would take too kindly if somebody had said this about his son, rest in peace, but I can't imagine he would be happy to hear a panel of people on a true crime show saying his child wasn't quite right. Do they ever step back and self-reflect and think about that? No, they just continue bashing these poor kids endlessly.
You're saying the police did?
Yes, the police altered the time of death for an hour and 45 minutes. So they said it happened an hour and 45 minutes later than what it happened. Anyway, Lannis, I heard that on Lannis' thing too.
So apparently Lana has decided that the authorities changed time of death. I didn't find that video, so I didn't look too hard because I get sick when I go over there. But apparently that's what she's putting out to people
today, that they changed the time. The MPD's done it before, so it isn't that big a deal. They've done it again.
No, that case Lana was discussing is the Dr. Moore case that is up in Bonners Ferry, which is in Boundary County. Has nothing to do with Moscow Police Department or Latah or anything. So no, Moscow police have not lied about anybody's time of death.
Way back. She did like a total deep dive into this guy, and she really thought that he had something to do with it. He's connected to Pennsylvania. He's connected to, check this out. I think his dad lives very close to Delphi, where the Delphi happened.
Okay.
And Eric was there at that time. And she talks about it in her last video. I think that was today.
So Lana, who came into the Delphi game late and decided to go run be boots on the ground to boost her channel when we didn't need her, is now telling everybody that Eric Gower, the rideshare driver, was in Delphi during the time Abby and Libby were murdered. How rich.
That, you know, to go back to look at those Gower ones. And because it's quite interesting. It really is. And she gets into the wife, she gets into the Pennsylvania thing, she gets into the whole Delphi where that happened, and he was there just not that far away, like 20 minutes or whatever it was.
So Tommy, then do you know if Gower, his family's affiliated with a certain organization?
I have no clue.
No, okay, I didn't know if you discussed any of that.
What organization?
Okay, I
Odinism.
did a video yesterday about Gower, and you can all go watch it. There's no affiliation to Pennsylvania. What Nika was talking about was that the Pennsylvania probable cause affidavit for Kohberger's arrest accidentally did not redact Gower's name. That's what Pennsylvania was mentioned about.
True.
There's no connections to Gower to Pennsylvania. And he was not at Delphi. His father used to live near Delphi years ago. He still has family that lives in Indiana. But there's no indication whatsoever that he was at Delphi in 2017. So just stop, Tommy, unless you can show actual proof. And Nika is not a deep dive. She wouldn't know a deep dive if it bit her on her chicken nuggets.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is planned. Now, like the rumors I'm hearing is that DM planned a little bit and kind of.
Now, where do you suppose he's hearing that from? People in Moscow telling him that? Or is that some more shit Tommy Jude made up during one of his coughing fits?
As a prank, because Kaylee was always pranking them, pranking her, and it was supposed to be a prank, and that it went wrong. Now, did she hire Gower to do the prank?
I don't know.
Maybe start it.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Did he?
Yeah, they
did
say
he come back? Are you driving?
He had weapons that would make big gouges.
Yes, he did.
You know, I was just looking on his Facebook page yesterday because, and it's not on there anymore, but remember he used to have on his Facebook site, he had a picture that had all those nasty weapons.
Yeah.
It's not on there now.
So you're still going with this story you made up, Tommy, about Dylan wanting them roughed up. Give me a fucking break. Okay, first of all, as a prank, you don't have people beat up. That's not pranks, okay? Apparently you've never been in a college house and done pranks on each other, but that is not a prank. Also, if she hired Gower, law enforcement would have already arrested all of them, because murder for hire things or sending somebody to intimidate something get caught fairly quickly because there's a trail. Okay? Forensic downloads on your phones, you know, they can check all your call data detail, everything. You saw how extensive they were in this case. So if those girls had anything on their phones that were incriminating, they would have been arrested already. Now, as far as Gower and the weapons, he had no weapons on his Facebook page. This rumor came from Bubbly Waters not understanding how Pinterest works. She went to Pinterest and looked at a little folder he had with firearms, which is fine. A lot of people have photos of guns that they like or want to purchase. But then Pinterest gave her suggestions, okay? It's kind of like how they talk about the click data in this Kohberger case, how Amazon will give you suggestions. They gave Bubbly suggestions because she was looking at something to do with weapons on Pinterest. So she clicked on that and it showed knives. And she misunderstood it that was on Gower's Pinterest page. That was not. Pinterest will take you out to other pages of other people and companies when you click on that. And I'm going to show you the video where she's doing that. And then we're going to click on weapons. And we get this. What does it look like to you? It looks like every freaking knife that they mentioned we've been talking about.
Okay, this is what Bubbly clicked into. See what it says? Discover Pinterest 10 best ideas and inspirations for weapons. That was a suggestion page. That had nothing to do with Eric Gower's posts or his page. So you'll see where the suggestion popped up. So he was looking at his posts of guns, and then it's like similar ideas popular now. So then it has guns, weapons, ammunition, airsoft. So she decided to click on weapons. And she thought that that was still Eric Gower's page. No. This is what happens when people run with shit that they don't understand. And now you have a whole bunch of people falsely accusing Eric Gower of being creepy and being interested in knives and having photos of knives on his Facebook, none of which was ever true.
But yet Bubbly Waters is so brilliant and smart. A lot of these trailer park YouTube streeters, as I call them, look up to her like nobody's business. Yeah, she's real smart, all right.
Go check this out. They put only from 422 to 424, right? Isn't it funny? That's the time that we see a tall girl with long hair running in and jumping into that truck at 423. Yeah. Oh, isn't that nice? Isn't?
No, you don't, Tommy. See, they're all stuck with that damn truck, and I'll show y'all that Lane video again. Y'all tell me if you see any of that shit going on. You're not going to see it because it didn't happen.
That nice. It fits right into that.
So, in other words, if the timing on the text is true, then it couldn't be DM jumping in the
exactly,
truck.
Exactly,
right,
exactly. So that's, to me, that's why they're covering this.
Yep.
All girl with long hair.
Okay.
And that was at 423. And so they come out with this. Are they coming out with this just to cover that it isn't Dylan jumping into that truck?
Well, with the timing, yes, I think so, probably.
I mean, look at that. I mean, that's just
corrupt.
The coincidence is just unbelievable. You can't make this shit up.
So you want us to believe that the only reason why they put these text messages out was to try to provide cover for Dylan because you still think she jumps into that truck in the parking lot. Well, first of all, if that really was her jumping into the truck, guess what? She could be texting while she's doing that. You do realize some people know how to walk and text at the same time. It's not hard. But that's not why they put these texts out, okay? These are going out for full transparency. Hitler decided things were going to start getting released, and these text messages have nothing to do with whoever was out in that parking lot with that truck. Also, that truck is likely somebody that lives in those apartments because, as people noted, it pulled into that same space that it had been in before, okay? Apartments have assigned space. So it's somebody that lives there in those apartments, and it was likely somebody that left, went somewhere for a bit, and returned. It honestly looks like somebody that went and picked up their child and is bringing their child back, because I'm pretty sure they're carrying a sleeping child. But if somebody can show me absolute proof that that is not the case and that truck is somebody that Dylan knows and that was Dylan getting in it, then show your proof, because right now that grainy video is not proof of anything.
But Tommy,
why isn't this being brought up at all?
Is it necessarily that they just killed those people, or that they just finished placing the bodies and staging the crime scene, which could take an hour? And if they were killed on Banfield, then the college would have liability.
They honestly believe these 4 victims were killed somewhere else and then brought back to that house.
In this thing. And so they have a reason, a motive to try to make it look like everything happened in that house.
First of all, if it happened on campus even, the college would not be liable unless it was a situation where they knew that the murderer was going to do something like that. You look back at Virginia Tech, they ignored the warning signs with Cho. Then the college would be liable. But a random killer coming onto campus, no. The college would be liable. Florida State wasn't liable for Ted Bundy breaking into a sorority house, although sorority houses are off campus, but still, unless you know that person is on campus and a threat and do nothing, then you would be liable. Now, also, as far as if they were killed elsewhere, even Ann Taylor is saying they weren't killed elsewhere. Listen to her again, talking about Kaylee.
Because that's misleading to the judge. That waters down what was said. And that matters in the probable cause affidavit, because the officers, when they wrote this, knew that wasn't the case. They knew this particular person that DM said was upright and running down the stairs, that's not what happened. That person was killed in the bed and never left the bed.
I was just saying, where are we coming up with they were killed in Banfield? I mean, where's that coming from?
Well, there's been quite a bit of discussion that it might have happened there, or some of it.
Actually, so, I think it happened between, I'm going to say again, in my opinion, that Xana and Ethan were still taken out on the street. And what I mean by on the street, it could be anywhere from Sigma Chi to the house, to Banfield. That's where they're taken out. And what supports it again is them coming out. This stuff supports it. They didn't say anything about BLOOD.
Not one word.
They went back in. They went back in.
Yep.
To see if they were breathing. Mm-hmm. They went back in, and this is during the day, so light is coming in. They should have seen BLOOD.
Good Lord. We're pretty sure Hunter did, all up in them bedrooms. Because we've heard for a long time. When I say heard, I'm talking about like with the crime scene itself, and from what the parents have spoke out and said, it sounded like all the bloody mess was confined to the bedrooms. It wasn't a bloodbath all over the entire house. But thinking that, these people right here are, there's so many people who watch this content, and then they come over and troll other channels and to tell you you're wrong. And this is where they're getting it all from. And this is where the pro burger stuff comes in. People listen to this. They don't go listen to other channels. They've found these people and they're like, oh my God, they must know things. They got the facts. They're smart. And then they're hooked, hook, line, and sinker. And then everything they say is now gospel. And everything we say is like, oh, no, because they got the truth over here. It'd be different if they were talking facts and having a debate about the facts, but that's not what they're doing. Not at all. Yeah, right, Dolphin, this is nuts. Do they actually think that 4 people were slaughtered out in the open? Banfield were yeah, and the cops were over there, remember that night? Pulling the kids over for the drinking, walking through the Banfield. So Tommy, when did they have time for all that to happen and not be seen by people? You weirdo.
Everywhere.
And Xana's fingers.
I mean, come on.
I will remind you again that Hunter Johnson is who found Xana. The rest of them did not see her. And according to Ethan's half-brother, Eric Chapin, he basically spared them the details. So they were on phone with 911, but they weren't seeing what Hunter was seeing. He wasn't telling them the full extent. And I also have a feeling that Hunter may have only went towards the doorway and didn't even go in the room and just saw Xana's body, realized she wasn't breathing, yelled down to them to call 911. But as far as these rumors about being killed elsewhere, people made that shit up because it's more, I don't want to say fun, although some people are having fun with this murder case, which is gross, but it's more exciting, more intriguing to come up with something different than what really happened. To say, oh, they were killed elsewhere and then the body's staged, because that just gives it this international spy kind of feeling, like this undercover murder mystery. And so people run with that shit because they get clicks and views when they do that. They get clicks and views because the truth is usually pretty boring.
Exactly. And young black economists, yeah, I like listening to different opinions. I listen to different opinions, but I don't listen to straight out lies and garbage, right? Because What are you going to take away from that? But I agree. I've listened to two different defense attorneys on this case, and they are in disagreement, and I respect both of them, and they respect each other. But that's where I will go to get my checks and balances from my opinions, right? Not to these shady ass YouTube street creators who are going to try to tell me something that ain't true.
And so the facts don't bring viewers. They don't bring people giving you money to keep filling your head with nonsense every week.
Well, if they saw Xana, they saw Ethan.
Not necessarily, because if you see where I highlighted the doorway, Xana was there, and Ethan would have been around that corner to the left. And Hunter, being Ethan's best friend, if he saw him, I'm sure he would have said something. So I don't believe Hunter even looked in the room. He just saw Xana, yelled for the girls to call 911.
Yeah, it's because the BLOOD was out on the street somewhere.
Exactly. Well, it might have been cleaned up though too.
Cleaned up, right?
Sprayed down with a hose.
Yeah,
Power
remember
washers.
we heard
Power
the
washers.
power washers.
We heard the power washer. We heard the power washers. Yes. Anybody that's been
see,
associated
that's another
with
thing
the channel has heard the power washers.
They claim they heard the power washers on the Linda Lane footage. I never heard no power washers on the Linda Lane footage.
And seeing the guys in those HVAC suits
Right. Yeah.
or whatever they're hazmat.
That's all been seen. Right.
Yep.
Power washers and guys in hazmat suits. And you saw these where? And you heard these where? Oh, let me guess. The Linda Lane footage that people have doctored over and over and over again and made you think that you're hearing aliens from Mars and helicopters in trees and the sounds of guns cocking and mountain lions that disappear. Get the fuck out of here, okay? There was no power washers. There was no men in hazmat suits.
So here we got...
neighbor said that
here we have
he didn't hear anything during the night either.
Well, yeah, they're going to say that.
Yeah, because they got paid off.
Somebody threatened these
That or
neighbors.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And we have Daddy Green as a billionaire.
And that he is.
Giant facepalm. The neighbors were not paid off. Okay? If people are saying they didn't hear anything, it's because they didn't hear anything. It was going on inside the house. Stabbings are a fairly quiet act. We know of some sounds that were picked up on the neighbor's camera, and we know what Dylan and Bethany's sounds they heard, but it wasn't like it was some horror movie scream fest. And as far as Scott Green, no, he's not a billionaire. Okay, people are looking at sites like this peopleai.com, and it's saying Scott Green net worth of $2.95 billion, but the same site also thinks that a basketball arena has a net worth. Allen Fieldhouse may have a property value, maybe a revenue per square foot, but it doesn't have a net worth. But it has both people and buildings listed the same on this site. And also, there's this little disclaimer. Well, it's actually a big disclaimer, but they put it in small print, so a lot of people miss it. And the disclaimer says, the net worth displayed here are calculated based on a combination of social factors. Please only use it for a guidance, and see Scott Green's actual income may vary a lot from the dollar amount shown above. So that's basically them saying, we don't really know. We're just making it up. Now, Forbes is who puts out the accurate list of billionaires every year, and Scott Green is not on here. There's only two people with the last name of Green on the billionaire list. One is Jeff Green, and the other is Jeff T. Green. So a little more insight here. Green's salary is $420,000 per year. Obviously, yes, a pay cut from when he was in the private sector. He's been in the role for about 5.5 years, so that would be roughly $2.31 million in salary before taxes. That is a long way from $1 billion, even regardless of what he may have earned in the private sector. And then here's another caution about sites like People AI. It says estimates online, like those from People AI, are speculative and based on social media influence rather than hard financial data. So they are not reliable. Considering his high earning years in the private sector, likely 20 plus years at 6-figure or low 7-figure, and his current role, a rough estimate puts his net worth in the range of $5 million to $15 million. So can we finally stop saying that he's a billionaire? And even if he was a billionaire, what the F does that have to do with anything? Because the other thing is, yes, he's the president of the university, but he's really a figurehead. They shape some decisions, but the board of regents is his boss. They are his bosses. So all decisions, major decisions, come down to the board of regents vote and not Scott Green's decision.
Who's Jay? Who's Jay?
That would in my opinion, it's JD.
Oh yeah, Jack.
Yeah, I think
That's kind of what I thought in the first place, because Dylan had I've read several places that Dylan had kind of had a thing for Jack.
Yeah, that's what I've wondered about that. I've wondered.
Okay. Now Dylan's got a thing for Jack Decor. Check this shit out.
About that, if there wasn't something going on between those two, and that's why Kaylee, that, you know what, that it could come down to that. It could come down to she left Jack Decor because Jack Decor was having an affair with Dylan,
or flirting around
Dylan,
with her.
and Dylan lined up. Yeah, Dylan lined up some kind of shit.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. Dylan did not have a thing for Jack. Her and Jack were not fooling around, and that's not why Kaylee broke up with Jack. Can we please just stop with all this shit? Oh, your sources, you hear. No, this isn't a soap opera. These people's lives and the deaths of the 4 students are not for your entertainment to make shit up and then make people think that what you're saying is true. Because I guarantee you, we're going to hear this on other pages now going, I heard Dylan was fooling around with Jack because Tommy said so. No.
Well, that's possible too.
That's possible too.
Did you really just say that? This is like one big circle jerk that feeds off of each other's ridiculous thoughts and then gives them credence.
I don't know.
I still think Payne is the one behind the knife sheath.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he liked Brian, because Brian said he was going to help the rural police learn how to use cloud forensics. And I think he was offended by that and wanted to show College Boy a lesson. He would have had his DNA because of his, because of his interviews and applications and everything for internship.
No, Payne would not have had Koberger's DNA or anything from interviews for internships. Koberger applied for the fellowship with the Washington State University PhD program for the Complex Social Interactions Lab that is run by Pullman Police Department. So he interviewed with Gary Jenkins, and it was a virtual interview. So it's not like there would have been any DNA they would have got off something like meeting in person for that interview. And also DNA wouldn't have been...
Okay. I'm not sharing this because I believe this shit, people. If y'all started out at the beginning of the stream, you'll see I'm showing you this and showing you how she's debunking what they're saying to show people how these lies are being spread all over YouTube. So when you go into other chats and you come up against those people who are completely all pro-burger, you know where they're getting it from. People are making shit up and putting it out there, and it's disgusting. And it needs to stop. It's not going to stop. Nothing I say is going to make it stop. If y'all are tired of watching it, I'll turn it off. We'll go on to something else. I'm just trying to show y'all what's out there. Because I don't think a lot of folks understand. This stuff is not the same as what went on in Delphi. Some people think it is. Oh, all those rumors in Delphi. No. There were no rumors like this in Delphi. There were facts in Delphi. This is rumors and dumbasses on the internet making up shit to get a click and a view, because they boarded that train 2.5 years ago when it was popular to do so, and they couldn't jump off. So they had to stick with it. And then they, continue to lie and continue to lie. So I'm only presenting this because I don't think enough people realize, and they're going to stumble into these chats and they're going to start hearing this shit and they're going to go, oh, wow. And some of them are going to believe it. So I'm only going to play a few more minutes of this because there was something else I wanted to present in it, and then I will stop playing it.
That interview. But the thing is, that was Pullman and WSU, not Idaho, not Moscow Police, not Brett Payne. Also, you imply that Payne would be upset by Koberger being a college boy, but Payne himself has a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. So I really don't think Brett Payne would care if somebody else was also a college student working on an advanced degree. And as far as the sheath and whether it was planted, you have this footnote right here in the defense's motion in limine number 6 that says the body cam footage of one of the first officers on the scene shows the sheath tucked under the covers next to Ms. Mogan. You know what that means? The sheath was there before Payne ever arrived. So can we stop saying that Payne planted the sheath?
Who's the head attorney for the state of Idaho?
Who's what?
Who is one of the top attorneys, like the attorney generals or whatever, for the state of Idaho?
I don't know their names.
Mortensen. Mortensen.
Yeah, he's. Oh no, isn't he a? He's a district attorney.
He's more than a district attorney.
So the Attorney General for the state of Idaho is Raul Labrador. Now, Stanley Mortensen is the Kootenai County prosecuting attorney. And no, he is not related to Dylan nor any of Dylan's family. That has already been extensively looked up. And when people tried to claim that was her dad or uncle, it was immediately debunked.
I think that this is all paid for, and Hippler's paid for, in my opinion. And
right. Yeah.
It's going to have to go to appeal. And hopefully then the truth will.
So they believe that the judge and they're all paid for. Who's paying them? It's a Railroad Coburger. Why is it so important to Railroad Coburger that we got to pay people to do it?
Will actually be embraced at some point, I hope.
I don't know. I still have just a little hope for Hippler.
Do you?
Yeah, just a little. Maybe he can make a change, but I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to give you a Judge Hippler Not Amused award along with a tinfoil hat award for that, because he's not being paid off. Nobody's being paid off. And when you say embrace the truth, what are you going to say if it turns out at trial that the truth is that Koberger did this? And that there's no vast conspiracy theory and no cover-up and no pressure washers and men in hazmat suits and no drug cartel going in the house and no staging of bodies and no Banfield massacre and et cetera, et cetera. What will you say then?
Just another truck.
In fact, I thought it was very interesting.
Eric Gower seems to have a few aliases.
Yeah.
Grower is one I heard.
Oh Lord! So Bubbly was showing what she claims was a relative's house of Gower's. Lord knows, because she's wrong a lot. But as far as aliases, when you had any documents that maybe your name wasn't spelled all completely on, like you see here, it says Eric Go, or like this Arthur Rosenbaum, if it's somebody that you've been employed by, Eric Martin, somebody that lives in Moscow near Eric Gower, it gets things mixed up. These people search sites will use mailbox locations, they'll use people's addresses, they'll use your classes at college, they'll use mail that you filled out, like forms, your employers. If you go in under my name, it comes up with a Veronica. I've never used the name Veronica, but I've worked with people named Veronica before, and so it's probably picking up some of my people from the workplace. And so you can't go off these aliases on these people search sites.
Sega, at some point, Dylan will need to empty her bladder. After all, she's allegedly been cooped up in her bedroom since 4:19:07 a.m., according to her statement and phone records. Most people feel the need when they get out of bed to visit. You know what? When they're drinking, yes, you go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
And the bathroom there too, Tommy, is right next door to Zaina's room.
Yep.
Right.
So you're gonna have to go by the good vibe sign. You're gonna have to. Right. Oh my God, it's impossible.
Except you forget she went down to Bethany's room. So there's a bathroom right next to Bethany's room, right behind that stairwell there on the first floor. So she didn't have to go upstairs.
What is that? What is that?
Looks like bodies wrapped up in a tarp.
Tell me.
This right here is bullshit. When I saw this, I was like, oh my God, they did not.
Sure does.
In the back of a pickup, bodies wrapped in tarps.
And in the back of a fucking pickup. In the back of a fucking pickup.
Back there behind the fence on.
No, this looks like an arm coming up.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like an arm coming up and on the stomach.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What day was this? What time?
This that I don't know. He doesn't
okay,
say.
I just put anything on there?
I seen this last night. And I'm going, oh my God.
So where did you see it? Where did it come from? You don't know a date, time, nothing. Did it even come from the King Road house parking lot? Because I never saw it. And I watched them load all kind of stuff on back of trucks and in a U-Haul van. I don't recall seeing anything wrapped in a green tarp on the back of a white pickup truck. So I don't know where the hell this came from, but for them to sit there and say that, because there was a big, huge thing about, oh, how come we never saw the bodies coming out of the house and all this stuff? Privacy, people. The media was asked to clear the area and stay away while they did that. And because of the sensitivity of it, and for the parents' sake, they didn't film the bodies coming out of the house.
It went right past me.
It looks like during the day.
Me too.
That looks like bodies to me. I'm sorry.
Oh, it does.
It looks like at least 2 bodies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this one looks like there's a.
And they're going to do it in the back of a pickup truck like that?
Right. Exactly. On top of the mattress.
Atrocious if that's the case.
Right.
Or another body.
If there was a quadruple facepalm award, I'd give it to you. Also, the jumping to conclusions award. That is not bodies. That was a still shot from the day they took the mattresses and bed frames out of the house.
Investigators removing several items from the victim's home, including what looks like to be a bed frame and a mattress covered in bloodstains.
Helps to get the production value up, helps me do the research that is needed to give you the best information possible, the most correct and true information possible. Do we love a good speculation around here? Of course. Who doesn't love a good speculation? But it needs to be based off of facts, which have turned out, in our case, for people like me, Tommy, Bubby Waters, other channels like that. Looks like we're right. Looks like we're right. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. Who knows? Who knows? But it looks pretty good, guys.
Oh, giving you the liar pants on fire award. You speculate not based in fact. Your guys' speculations
Donnie, you must know who I call Cotton Eye Joe.
are wild and false and not rooted in anything close to fact or reality. And that's just amazing that you think all of you are right. What have any of you been right about so far? What? I'd love to know.
Eric Gower. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Mr. Gower. There's someone in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Now, this happened in January 30th of 2020. Now, why is this very important? Not only is this guy charged with rape of a 13-year-old girl, his name's Eric Gower. And he was 34 at the time.
In Pennsylvania, where he's been connected to, and also, like I said in last night's show, that this guy was 20 miles from the Delphi girls where they got murdered, and he was there at that time at his dad's place, which is only 20 miles from where the Delphi happened, and he was there.
I don't believe in coincidences, guys. That's just too weird. That is just too weird. But let's read. It's a very short article. So it'll say, from Scranton, Pennsylvania, this happened in January 30th of 2020, so 5 years ago now. Now, it's very interesting because we're going to go look at Eric Gower's Facebook, and he stopped posting 2 months after this incident happened. He hasn't made a post since March of 2020. Very interesting.
That's true. We were looking at it when we were looking at
We were looking for it.
Yep.
He has not made a post since March 27th of 2020. Very interesting. Very shortly after this happened.
Yes.
And then we'll go look at his pictures because he's a fucking weirdo.
It's a
too.
pretty big boom.
He's got.
Not this again. Like, seriously, Tommy, can you go 5 minutes without making shit up? Okay, there's no indication Gower was anywhere near Indiana in February of 2017 when Delphi happened. None. His dad wasn't even living in, but he definitely wasn't staying with his dad at that time because his dad lives in Alabama. Well, if he was down in Alabama. But also,
Young Black Economist, of course, this is all pure conspiracy theory. That's what we're showing. Maybe I should make the banner a little more clear. I just put debunking the bullshit because I said it when I came on. Here's what we're doing. This is all conspiracy bullshit made up by weirdo people on the internet. And I'm just showing it to show people what is out there, because there are people out there who are naive, who are new to true crime, and are new to YouTube. And they don't realize the stuff they stumble across these creators, right? And they don't know they're being lied to. So that is why I'm showing this. If y'all are, if it's not, you kind of stream and you're bored with it, I understand. But if it gets in the algorithm, maybe enough people will start to see it. And the new people who come into true crime will see it and go, wait a minute. Because it's not just me debunking it. Vivian's doing a damn good job of debunking their conspiracy brain bullshit. So I just, now No, the bodies were removed from the home, and the local media cleared the area to give privacy to do that, so the families wouldn't have to see their children being carried out. And as a mother of a child who passed, and yeah, I'm going to bring my own personal experience into the conversation, it's not something you need the world to see. It's already been announced they're dead, but the world don't need to see those bodies coming out of that house to believe that crime happened.
Bringing up,
and you all got no right to see my child's death report, autopsies or nothing.
A rape article about somebody with the same name who is obviously not the same Eric Gower? What the fuck? Rory, you just said that you guys only speculate based in facts. Well, try using some actual facts, maybe.
Yeah. So Eric Gower, 54, of Scranton. So we have to, they say he's from Scranton. We'll see. Is facing grape, statutory SA, and other related offenses for the crime allegedly committed in December of 19. So this actually happened in December of 19. Right. Gower was in the left the scene. He ended up being sentenced to jail for that. Now, are we saying that this is the actual Eric Gower? No, we are not.
Right. But we don't know yet.
You don't know yet? Of course you know. The Eric Gower that is in Moscow was in 2012 in high school in Kamei, Idaho. He wasn't smashing trucks into bridges in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I mean, come on. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at that article and understand it's not the same Eric Gower.
This just came in. I mean, this came in. I hate it when it comes in right before a show because we have no time to.
I hate it too, but it is interesting to talk about. If anything, it's just very interesting to talk about.
It doesn't matter if it just came in before the show.
Young Black economist, I know. I also heard an attorney talk about this yesterday who thinks that there's a good chance that Payne didn't even understand the stupid question, because we all know that you can upload more than one profile. But the issue with the CODIS and those other DNAs, there's criteria they have to meet, and there's plenty of information on that out there. So y'all, you're welcome to go look that up, but it has to meet a certain criteria to be run through CODIS. So he was wrong, and he misstated that in court. I will say that, because I'll call out the prosecution as quick as I will a defense. Trust me. But yes, what he stated in court was wrong. Now, I do know this. The more you upload, or say you take a sample and you put it through CODIS and there's no hit and it's a cold case or it's unsolved, 2 years later you do it again, eventually you're degrading that DNA. And I know this for a fact. There's a cold case right now in my hometown that I work with the mother closely on, and we absolutely have to be super careful as to when that DNA gets run through CODIS before it's all gone and degraded. Now, I don't know what criteria they decided. First of all, proximity to the crime scene matters. The amount matters. There's a whole science behind it. And that's a CODIS issue, not a me issue. That's something y'all got to take up with people who do CODIS. But yes, that was a misstatement by him, because that's not true.
Show. If you don't have time to vet something, don't run with it. But also, it's pretty obvious, even if you don't take the time to vet it, that it's not the same person. I mean, how would you guys like it if I went and found somebody with the same name and then said, oh, well, this may not be the same person, but it's interesting to talk about. Someone with the same name as Rory was accused of rape. So I'm going to talk about it and throw this out there for the whole world. Give me a fucking break.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
So
Eric Gower.
Nasty clown face.
Oh, right
There's
here.
the clown face.
This is
Yep,
disgusting.
there it is.
And here we go again, Rory, with the Poconos. And if you remember, a long time ago, before Brian Kohlberger, there was somebody saying that they're hiding in the Poconos Mountains.
Tommy, can you please show me where on Eric Gower's page it mentions anything about the Poconos? I think I already cleared up earlier in this video that the Pennsylvania mention was by Nika's Chicken Nuggets, talking about how Pennsylvania didn't redact his name on the probable cause affidavit for the Kohlberger arrest.
Remember that?
Yes, I do. Now, we're not saying this is the actual Eric Gower. It's very, very...
No, we don't know.
Here's the problem, though. Somebody just asked, isn't he 29? We don't know that, because apparently he has multiple aliases.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Exactly. He's got aliases. Now we might know why. We might know why right here.
And this is why we are bringing this to your attention, is because if this guy has multiple aliases and he's a psychopath, we need to find this dude.
Okay, A, can the bullshit. You know that's not the same Eric Gower. B, can the bullshit about the aliases. And I already explained how these people search sites will put aliases. Guess what, Rory? There's aliases listed for you on the people search sites.
Thank you. I was about to say, Mr. Rory, how many aliases do you have? How long were you in acting school, Rory? Talk about that, what was that band Kurt Cobain was in? Tell us about your documentary you were going to do about that. Tell us about all that weird-ass poetry you write about women and explain what it means, please, sir. You are the actor.
But is that okay if we go splash those all over and claim we don't know who you really are because there's an alias listed by some people search website? Give me a fucking break. Also, it's not your job to proclaim that Eric Gower is a psychopath that needs to be found, okay? So, just stop on that as well. And actually, you calling him one, big old defamation lawsuit.
Well, I don't know Dolphin, but I know Rory's got a couple of aliases. When he accidentally doxed himself a year ago, he shouldn't have done that.
Hopefully coming your way.
The weapons he had on his Facebook before, and those weapons are more like gouging kind of weapons.
Exactly.
And he took them down, and he took them down.
No, he didn't take him down. It was the bubbly waters, I don't know what the hell I'm doing when I go on Pinterest special that made you all think that he had knives on his Pinterest page. It's like the blind leading the blind with all of you.
At the very least, absolutely, Ruby, he is a person of interest. Absolutely.
Yes, big time.
Doesn't it kind of sound like the Gonsalveses are trying to cover up for him? Well, no, he's a private driver. No, he's an Uber driver. No, he's a rideshare driver. He's a family friend. Wow.
Keep that in mind. Keep that driver in mind.
That guy's got a lot of titles.
Nika has like really deep dove into this guy like a long time ago. Like if you look back like a year ago or something, she did like, I don't know, 5 videos or something, just deep dove into this guy because she really suspected him.
He's something else, that's for sure. I mean, I'm starting to suspect him. I'm starting to suspect him for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely something strange.
I don't think he was the guy that turned in the Elantra, Patricia.
First of all, Nika didn't do 5 videos on him. She did like 1, and she had a lot of her information incorrect. Like I said, she wouldn't know a deep dive if it bit her on her chicken nuggets. Secondly, no, he's not a suspect, not considered a suspect. In fact, law enforcement cleared him right away. The Gonsalveses are not covering for him. And you are correct, Terry. He is not the one that called in the tip. WSU police officers are who spotted the car and called Moscow PD. And also the rideshare driver in the Law and Crime and News Nation interview who claims he called in about the car is not Eric Gower, because none of that person's information matches up at all with the real Eric Gower. So at least one of you might have a little common sense in all this.
Oh, this press conference, guys. So now with all the new information going here, now that we went back, me and Terry watched this, and dude, there's so many lies and contradictions in here, like right off the bat. It's so obvious that this was planned. These guys met up and talked. It's obvious.
Another facepalm here. Yes, press conferences are planned. Law enforcement just doesn't go out there and do one on the fly. They meet and they discuss what they're going to say. And guess what? They don't always tell the public everything. They don't always tell the public the full truth. They float red herrings also. Because part of looking for a suspect is not letting the suspect know exactly what they have. They also want to rule out false confessors. Because, every case.
That would be Tommy Jude, Donnie.
Brings out wackadoodles who like to call and say, well, I committed the crime. Okay, and how'd you do it? Oh, I used a chainsaw and it was at 6 a.m. and cops know right away. Nope, that's not what. So when they put out there the time frame of 3 a.m., anybody that called in claiming that they did it or that they knew who did it and said the time was 3, cops could rule out immediately. Okay. The roommates. They said the roommates were sleeping. That's because they didn't want the perp to know that there was an eyewitness. They left certain things out, are told half-truths, and it is okay for law enforcement to do that, and they do that frequently to protect the case, because you bitching that it was going to go cold, that they weren't working fast enough to catch someone. And so they finally catch someone, did a damn good job, damn good investigation. I don't care if you don't agree with me on that, but they did. And now you're all bitching that it was too quick. that there's no way he could be the suspect. You can't have it both ways.
We're going to confirm that this was an off-campus incident, once again from the mouth of Scott Green. He himself says this is an off-campus incident. So why the hell are you even involved with anything, Mr. Green?
Yeah.
Well, it was 4 students of the college that were murdered. So the university president is going to be involved, whether you like it or not. When an off-campus incident happened and a gymnast of University of Wisconsin-Whitewater was murdered, the university president spoke at the press conferences. Also, back at Florida, when Danny Rolling was killing people, the university president was at the law enforcement press conferences, even though all of Rolling's attacks, the murders, occurred off campus. This is what happens when students of a university are murdered. The president of the university is in the loop. So I'm not quite understanding why people are getting so mad about this. This is normal. This is what happens every time there is an off-campus incident involving students of a college.
4 victims.
I'm on mute, Pokemon. Can y'all hear it? Everything going all right? The women are Terry Martin's one of them, and Natural Healing is one of the other women. Yeah, I was muted, Mom, while it was playing or Pokemon. There was a comment. Let's see. Let me go back to the original comment that I saw on that. Young Black Economist, here's the thing. I'm a United States citizen, and I'm well aware that there's good cops, bad cops, right? And not all cops are bad. They're not always going to get it wrong. Not every investigation is going to be a shamble or a joke like Delphi was. If this one was, if I saw things here like I saw in Delphi, I would be telling you right now, this is what I'm seeing. But I haven't even come close to seeing it, you know? So I'm not, I don't go into every, I'm not saying I'm not taking your words wrong. I'm just letting you know how I feel about something. When I start a case, I never know if the person's innocent or guilty, right? We shouldn't know. And as the case unfolds, I'll start making certain decisions and determinations and can change my mind at any given time, depending on what I see. But I'm not going to be the channel that comes out the gate with every case I cover, the cops are wrong, right? Because then you can't jump off that train once you get on it. Ask a couple of channels that are trying and can't get away from it.
Determined the cause and manner of death as homicide by stabbing.
I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick while this is on.
All 4 victims were asleep during the attack.
Okay, so right off the bat, they are
There's
lying
a
to
problem.
you. Right
How
off the bat,
can
they're lying to you.
Haley be playing with her dog and Xana's on TikTok if they're asleep?
How can they say that? And
Right.
Then my butt says the same thing. They were sleeping. How can you say
determine that?
there's a guy on the floor, right? There's somebody apparently on the fucking floor.
Apparently.
You have Kaylee that looks like she's trapped and she's, sitting up in bed. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, we now know Xana was awake. That was confirmed. But they have never confirmed anybody else was awake. And in fact, it still sounds like Kaylee and Maddie were asleep when the attack started. And it sounds like Ethan also was. Ann Taylor herself said Kaylee never left the bed. Now, hearing the Kaylee playing with the dog, that doesn't mean she was playing with the dog. That's what Dylan thought she was hearing. That was obviously what we know now when the murders were starting. So she was hearing a commotion, but thought it was Kaylee playing with the dog. It clearly was not. But at the time, law enforcement's not going to go, well, we believe this person was up because the one witness thought they heard him playing with the dog. No, because they didn't even want him to know there was an eyewitness. Because you have defensive wounds or you're found somewhere else doesn't mean you weren't asleep when the attack started. Somebody starts attacking you and you wake up, unless the first immediate stab was immediately like a kill shot to the heart. But even then you might have a little bit of consciousness. It'll jolt you awake. And defensive wounds don't always have to be active. They can be passive. Like if somebody tries to wake you up, for instance, and you don't want to get up yet and you roll over or you kind of put your hand up like in a no gesture. Just the act of putting your hand up maybe to shield your face is a passive defensive wound, but it's still a defensive wound. And we don't know yet what their defensive wounds are. They have never been stated by the coroner which type. We've only heard things from parents. But again, it doesn't mean they lied when they said people were asleep. Now, we know they determined later Xana was awake, but that was an early press conference, and they were still gathering a lot of the information.
So again, to me, this is the easiest way to push their narrative that it was one person that took advantage of these kids in the middle of the night. They're all asleep, and that's how they can justify the 8-minute timeline. It's because they're all asleep, so that's how you got in so quick. Well, what do we know about that? Everyone's awake. Bullshit. How this Kaylee, per what Steve Gonsalves says, gets slumped in the corner with defensive wounds on her?
Right.
No.
And how did Maddie get 3 DNAs in her?
How does Maddie get 3 DNAs underneath her fingernail? Exactly.
Okay, so the sleeping has nothing to do with the narrative. Look up the Brentwood massacre. People were awake, sitting on couches in a living room. The guy walked into the kitchen, picked up a knife, stabbed and killed 5 people. They were all awake. Doesn't matter, asleep or awake. One person can do that. And again, defensive wounds, it doesn't mean you weren't asleep when the attack started. It just means that after the attack started, and then underneath the fingernails, the DNA. It's saying one of them's Maddie's, so her own, of course. One's Kaylee's, probably from being in contact with her all evening. The third, we don't know, but it doesn't mean it came from a perp. It doesn't mean she scratched anyone. DNA under the fingernails is not always indicative of any sort of fighting or scratching. So, again, we will have to see what the autopsy reports show before making all these assumptions.
I think they're trying to hide that the crime scene was staged.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh, tinfoil hat award again. I need to find one that's like a quadruple tinfoil hat award so you guys all can be awarded one at the same time.
Exactly. We don't know what to believe out of this LE. They keep changing the fucking story to fit a narrative.
Yep.
And that is a huge problem.
And we're busting them up on camera right here. This is their own words that they are saying to the public, like we're the biggest fucking morons to walk the planet. And shame on you. Shame on you, Moscow MTD. Shame on you.
Pot meat kettle. Shame on you, Rory. Shame on you. Wow. Well, maybe you are. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. But law enforcement wasn't changing anything to fit the narrative. Early on, they decided what they were going to put out to the public. And then once the court documents started coming out and you realized that what they floated to the public wasn't the full information, you guys got butthurt. But there's no need to get that way. That's how investigations work. Again, they float certain things out there and don't tell you certain things to protect the information. What you need to be going by now is the court documents. So all the documented facts that are coming out now.
Bunch of bullshit. Bunch of bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's the best advice we can give you, Jeff. Read the first part of the 911 transcript court doc. It tells you all of them saw Xana on the ground.
Actually, no, it doesn't say they all saw her. It says Hunter Johnson discovered her body. Of the rest of them, it says they personally perceived the event. Doesn't say they saw. Perceived. Perception. That can happen from not just sight, but sounds, perceiving based on what he's telling them. So, no, nowhere in this document does it say they all saw her body.
Problems, no. You, from the get-go, you had all this information. You knew it, and you chose to continue.
Yeah, you know, if they didn't lie like this all the time, right off the bat, and we're catching them in lies, we caught them in lies on the stand.
Mm-hmm.
On the stand, Payne lied. Payne lied.
So, Jeff, do you remember that too? Do you remember that too, Jeff, when Brett Payne gets caught in lies and can't remember where's Monday's Machineries? That's like half a mile down the road. Can't remember. Don't recall this date. Don't recall that video. Probably doesn't even remember. I think he was in a dream state when he wrote the PCA. I don't think he remembers that either.
So, Tommy and Rory, please tell me specifically what Payne lied about on the stand, because I don't recall anything he lied about on there, and Hippler certainly didn't see anything he lied about either, because he didn't award the Franks hearing, and he didn't find anything they stated wasn't true. But Monday's Machinery, just because somebody lives in the town with a shop doesn't mean you know that shop, okay? And I can tell you I've driven by Monday's Machine many times on Highway 95. Never paid attention to it. When they brought up Monday's Machine in that hearing, I had to go look up where it was, because I do not pay attention when I'm driving by on the highway. I don't need that business, so why do I care? So just because it's down the highway a mile from the police station doesn't mean Brett Payton's ever needed to go there for anything. So is he lying when he says he's not familiar with where it is? No. I mean, give me a break. If I ask you about some business in Spokane, Rory, and you aren't familiar with it, and you say, well, I don't know where that's at, and I go, well, it's 2 blocks from your apartment, does that mean you're lying? No. It just means you probably never had a reason to go to that business before and never paid attention that it was there.
Moscow law enforcement not want help from anybody.
Right.
Think about that. Why would they do that?
Because it's called a cover-up.
Quadruple.
Because it's called cover-up. That's why. You don't tell FBA go fuck yourself. You don't tell ISP to go fuck
exactly.
yourself. Yeah, exactly. Don't work that way, guys. Don't work that way, guys.
Yeah.
It does not. All resources, absolutely, truly, Philly, absolute. All resources treat this like the cold case on day one. Absolutely. They wanted this gone on day one.
Yep. They did.
They wanted it gone because they knew exactly what happened and who did it. They
sure did.
Yeah, and didn't what he would the captain was Lanier was saying, if I'm correct, he's the guy that said, no more gossiping or no more rumors, stop the rumors. And no, they just want us to stop talking. They want us to just believe them and move on.
Yes, they did.
No, they wanted you to stop gossiping. They wanted you to stop making up harmful shit and defamatory statements like you guys do on.
Donnie, you said, yeah, but the judge is all a part of are you talking about Idaho 4 case and Judge Hippler? Like, I need you to answer me that in chat, please, because I'm just asking you made a statement, so I'm asking a follow-up question to that. Do you believe that the judge in Idaho is a part of the cover-up? I'm waiting y'all for an answer. I'm sorry. Moscow law enforcement didn't want help from anybody. Is that provable? That's bullshit. The FBI has been all over it. It was testified to under oath by Liggett and Delphi, but we have proof in Idaho 4. FBI has been involved since day one. We have proof in Delphi. They were kicked out by the local authorities. Again, FBI has been involved with this case from day one. That's why the crime is solved. In their eyes, if it wasn't for the FBI's help, they wouldn't have Kohberger. And I think that's pretty obvious, because it took WSU found the car in November, and shit, Payne didn't hear about the name Kohberger till December when he got told by the FBI. I got a problem with that, but I'll let that go for this moment. I'll get into that when I do an investigation show, because getting into the investigation is what really matters to me. I'm about to turn this bullshit off right here. Hey, Leslie and Billy. So, actually, Donnie, I'm still waiting for you to answer me, hun. If you think Judge Hippler is a part of a cover-up, are you talking about the Idaho case? Let me see. Look over here. I got a delay on that. It must be true. Are you talking about the panel here we're looking at? Yeah. It ain't true.
On your show. You guys are a prime example of what they didn't want. You had that professor being accused falsely. But as far as not wanting help, no, they wanted help. They asked for the help, and they accepted the help all the way through the investigation. They never told anybody to get lost. In fact, Lanier, it says it was standard in a major case. If 4 homicides wasn't a major case, what was? To alert the Idaho State Police, and he did that too. See? Talks about what Lanier did as soon as he found out about the murders. So Lanier already contacted Idaho State Police, and as soon as Fry got back into town, he contacted the FBI.
I clearly understand the difference between, a standard sloppy investigation and a completely bad investigation, right? I can point out several cases to you. Because I promise y'all, this is not my first Idaho from it. So I get what you're saying, young black economist, but was this a sloppy investigation? Shit, they followed a guy around to get a cigarette butt. They interrogated the shit out of the boyfriends. They kept phones from the boyfriends for days on end. They swabbed them for DNA. They were literally looking into a lot of people. and they started with the closest ones to the victims. So was it really a sloppy case? The thing that I see sloppy is WSU querying that car in November 29th and coming up with the name Brian Kohberger, and then comparing it to looking at his ID, noticing bushy eyebrows, because that's in the PCA. But then we have something to, the things that bother me, as far as the investigations that I take a look at. So, but I do know there's sloppy investigations out there all day long, but there's some that are just beautiful and perfect, right? It's a 50-50 thing.
Says Fry called the Bureau and asked for their assistance. It was quickly arranged. A team of agents, eventually about 40 in total, would be dispatched to Moscow. A smaller group flying in from Salt Lake City would be arriving as soon as tomorrow. And as he'd specifically requested, 3 members of the BAU, 2 men and a woman, were also being dispatched. So what does that tell you? That doesn't tell you they wanted the case gone, or that they acted like it was a cold case, or that they didn't want any help. No, that tells you the opposite. And that case had a lot of people working on it, and that's how they were able to find Kohberger and solve it so quickly.
So, Daryl, yes, it says in the documents that both Dylan and Bethany did block their testimony for the pretrial hearing that was supposed to happen. So that was the whole reason that happened. So these girls didn't have to testify until trial. And this is why Bethany is so scared out of her mind to come back to the state of Idaho. She does not want to come back. And didn't she ask, I'll only say something if you promise I don't get arrested? Again, this is a rumor I heard. I won't.
All right, need some Z's. Watch some of the YouTube lawyers, and I'm not going to even tell you I'm not even going to suggest which ones you go watch. There's several out there. Go watch them. There's a lot being said about those 3 DNAs. Were they in the direct crime scene? Not according to CODIS. So there's a lot of information at your fingertips you guys can look up. And yeah, we all have a problem with, I have a problem with untested DNA. A huge problem with all that DNA untested in Delphi that came right out of the victim's hand. This didn't come out of a victim's hand. It came off of a stairwell. We don't even know how long it was there, how much of it was there, how degraded it was. Things like that come into play. Those are the things we don't know. So before we can make a decision about it, we need to know more about it. Just like we learn more and more about that untested DNA over there in Delphi. When you got hairs wrapped around a victim's finger that they decided didn't need to be tested, that's a problem. That's within the crime scene, right? There's absolute standards that they go by in the law enforcement community, and I think enough people are aware of that. This confusion. I agree, though. Untested problem. I need you to explain to me. Could y'all tell how old that was? Was it untestable there? What we do? What? Tell me what was. I have that.
Confirm that. But is it
still doesn't take away from that knife on that DNA on it?
Well, she said that Tommy, right? Tommy.
Yeah, he's on mute.
Show some of the stuff from crime scene investigator shows or different documentaries I've seen and things I can present on it. How many of us went to criminology school? How many of us are crime scene investigators? How many of us dusted off our old degree and blew the dust off and go on YouTube now? So there's a lot of things we don't know, a lot of things we do know, and I love to go find out. I'm informed too, honey. I'm very informed. So I will be putting together a show for you and for anybody who's interested. And we'll try to figure out how, when the criteria they determine on what's within a crime scene and what can go into CODIS and things like that. Because those things are curious to me. I'm the one will go research that and read about it. I already have.
You're muted, Tommy.
Yep, I'm here.
Didn't she? Yeah, Bethany had made sure that she was signed that she wouldn't get arrested if she came back to that state, right?
Yeah, she made it so, to have immunity.
Yep, that's right.
Yep. She wouldn't come back to testify to do that. And as soon as she did and signed that and all that, and then all of a sudden, bam, the grand jury. and she wasn't able to testify. So what's that tell you? Know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, Tommy, what do you mean? You're putting words in her mouth, okay? First of all, she wasn't scared to return to Idaho. She's been back to Idaho, okay? She's been visiting friends, gone on vacations up in Idaho.
All right, Z's, I'm going to have to put that show together. Dolphin and I kind of deep dove that one night, and I'll let you know what we found out.
Ann Taylor wanted her to come to the preliminary hearing to testify for the defense because she thought she may have something exculpatory. Didn't even know, just thought. And preliminary hearings normally don't require anyone to come testify. The cops can read your statement. Hearsay is allowed. So witnesses normally are not there. Law enforcement just reads your statement. Now, as far as the immunity, she did not demand that. You're putting words in her mouth again. She did not say she would only come back if she signed this immunity thing. Out-of-state subpoenas have standard wording. It's boilerplate language. It's basically every state does this. Idaho isn't the only one. So we'll take a look at the statute. Okay, I've posted this before, but apparently you're so set in your narrative that you ignore it, just like the proof of the hybrid car. But this is for out-of-state subpoenas. It says, have exemption from arrest and service of process. If a person comes into the state in obedience to a subpoena directing him to attend and testify in a criminal hearing or prosecution in this state, he will not, while in this state, pursuant to such subpoena, be subjected to arrest or the service of process, civil or criminal, in connection with any matter which arose before his entrance into this state under such subpoena. It also says if a person passes through this state while going to another state in obedience to a subpoena. This is standard language on any out-of-state subpoena document. I showed examples from other states in one of my past videos. Bethany never asked for this language to be put in there. It was standard.
Attack. But we recognize this is not good enough for some of our students who will want to complete their semester remotely until the person who committed the crime.
So like I said before, they still have not told us why this is a targeted attack. What evidence did they see? We've never ever known this. I'm dying to know this. So what a targeted attack means, like what? They went after a specific group of people or person. Henceforth, why we get reports, why Kaylee was beaten, her face was unrecognizable. But they've never reported this to us. I wonder why.
And what about the house?
And what about the house? What evidence did you see or did you suspect why would be the house? So that would mean something was stolen. They broke into, like they tore apart the walls looking for something, tore apart the floor, something like that. What evidence did you see that you thought the house could have been a target?
Or the house being a target, or they could have known that it used to be a frat house, and the landlord changed it into a fraternity house. I mean, a sorority.
Mm-hmm.
With the girl, long time. Mm-hmm.
Well, who did that?
That was a frat house.
It was, yeah. So it's really weird that a registered sex offender buys that house.
So yeah, it could have been targeted for that.
That's an interesting thought as well.
Or they wanted the house down.
It was.
I mean, he's not making money. He's not a billionaire because he cares.
I think people also have a misconception because we hear about it. So, these small towns, how do we know they're not trained good enough? They're trained. Even we looked at the stuff from the investigators in the Delphi case. And Delphi and Idaho, actually, they go take training constantly, like from the FBI, and they have like the school they go to and different things. I've talked to a lot of my local crime scene investigators. I run into them in town. We chit-chatted up. They know that I'm a streamer. I've asked questions here and there. I've also seen shitty investigations in huge towns where you would think they have all the training. So I don't know if we can single out small towns, just like people were like, oh, small town corruption. Well, shit, look at Rex Horman where he's from. One of the biggest corruptions. Look at Los Angeles, California. One of the biggest corruption cases ever. Go back to the 80s. They had all this corruption over there in Suffolk County. Look at Karen Reed. She's not small town America. All kinds of corruption going down over there. They collecting blood in a fucking Solo cups over there. So it's not just, and Koberger, hey, he must have felt the same way because he wanted to come teach us how to do it.
About people. He's a billionaire because he knows how to make, all he thinks about is What's the best way to make money? Period.
Money.
People don't matter. It's all about money.
Which is why he wanted that house down ASAP. He doesn't care about making a memorial. He doesn't care about the kids.
And I
What
do
did he?
believe he's a self-made millionaire too.
Is he a millionaire or billionaire?
Billionaire.
Billionaire.
He's a billionaire. Okay.
Billionaire.
We already know that's not true. Thank you, Forrest Nelson, for gifting 10 memberships. Look at there, Pokemon, lead investigator, Leslie and Billy. Is that Nay Folk? Alrighty, 4 pit bulls across America. Welcome in. Good to see you. It's been a minute. Welcome. Triple L, Miss JC Ann, welcome in. You're a member now. Truth Seeker and Rebecca. Calcutta and Shauna. Welcome to the lead investigators, guys. I appreciate that, Forrest. That's very generous of you, as always. 10 memberships, guys. And we, I do post to the community tab for members only, and I will be putting together a members only live again soon, probably next weekend, actually. I've heard enough of this guy because I wanted to get on to Anjanette's stuff here in just a second and show you, because Dolphin, you're going to find it interesting because she, as I was watching it last night and she mentioned the Winco, I was like, oh no, she's not about to go down what me and Dolphin, me and Firefly were doing, and she did. Because she's like, I think I made the connection, and I knew right then what she was about to talk about, and she did. But there was a couple of things, oh, that ain't wanting Canva. There were a couple of things that she said in that live last night that really caught my attention that I wanted to share with you guys. I need to drop her link in a second as well. And the guys, the whole reason there's more to present on these fools, but I dropped Viviana's channel. She does a great job doing that herself. Go check it out. Be careful out there because you got jerks like these people, and there's way more of them. Okay, I can name 5 off the top of my head right now. But I ain't trying to start no damn creator war with people because them bitches will come running after you trying to dox you and your whole family. And you come for me all you want to, but do not ever make the mistake and come toward my family. They have nothing to do with my true crime. Nothing at all. So that's where I draw the line. And none of y'all scare me. Not y'all in the chat, but those people. They have made threats through each other. I'll get you. I'll get you. I'll sue you. I'll swat you. I'll on Rogers case. So if you don't like me or you don't like the content, you don't have to be here. But don't come after my family in any kind of way if you don't agree with what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because I'm not dealing with that shit either. Fools, right? Young Black Economist, 2 months. 2 months you've been with us, and thank you for being here. We do appreciate you, and you have been here. You're one of my OGs for sure. Like we said, Z's, there's actually a lot of information with the criteria out there. I'm going to be putting together a show today, because I think the more we educate ourselves on whether we agree with the protocols or not is not the point. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, I got to mute out 1 second. Sorry, my son's trying to pull a fast one on me. He's about to leave for the day, and I need him to go to the store for me. And he's like, I'm not going. I'm live. I told you I was going live, dude. All right. Would they clear up something for you? They did swab those types of areas. We saw the little red tags all over the place. Yeah, we did. Yeah, I mean, they obviously hit the stairs with luminol. They wouldn't have found the blood. Do you know what I mean? the point is, why was it not tested? And Dolphin and I did do a deep dive on blood, how, if they can tell how long it had been there, how old it had, all these things. And like I said, we'll put together, because I'm that person. If I hear about something in a case, some new type of evidence or something like that, I want to learn about it. Because if we don't learn about it, you're going to be like this, and we don't understand why. Maybe we may not agree with the reasons behind what they do, but that's when I say take that up with your city council, your community members, your community leaders. Starts at home. Make change. Things weren't always great in Florida. We had to push back as citizens against some things. If you don't like the way certain things are done, sometimes you got to become actively involved to make sure they change. But if we can go review as to why they are the way they are, we might can understand why they did or didn't do some things instead of just calling them stupid cops. They may be stupid cops, but I don't think they are. Nothing yet has shown me they are. I get the untested DNA, but that wasn't in a victim's hand like it was in Delphi. It was in a whole other location, part of the house. It could have been deposited there at any given time by any person. Did they try to pull a sample out of it? That part we're not being told yet. The state doesn't have to say that yet. Anne's not going to say it if she knows it, because she's still trying to establish reasonable doubt, right? You got to remember that as well. I'm respecting Ann Taylor because she's doing her job, but part of her job is to bring out the reasonable doubt. She's only going to bring out the parts that show the reasonable doubt, right? And people aren't going to understand why in the world wasn't that tested. Well, let's go try to figure out why. That's where I'm at with stuff like that. You never said that. Apparently you and I can't conversate and chat, need some Z's, because we apparently always get it wrong. I actually read the comment, responded to the comment, and then I looked down, you're telling me I never said that. Are you talking to me or somebody else, hon? Because now I'm just confused, and now I'm kind of done with the conversation. So let me move on. I'm not trying to tell you how to feel or think. You want to, get all mad about their untested DNA and you don't want to hear nothing else about it or even try to figure it out. That's cool. If you're not talking to me in that comment, I apologize. I'm just not in the mood today to play. If y'all want to speak to me in a comment, say it out like I can understand it. You know what I mean? Because I just decipher 3 or 4 letters here and there and then say, well, it's not that hard. All right, let me pull up Jeanette's thing and get that up for you, because there's some interesting things that she did say. All right, let me go to her timestamp on her transcript, because that's the easiest way to get, because I'm not going to play the whole thing. Get up here. Where are you at? Transcripted. Before I get it up there. Okay. This is where she starts talking about, there were quite a few of us in there last night that knew each other. It was kind of, actually ran into somebody that we were nice to one another. It was kind of cool. Okay. Here's where this is a part where she talks about, now, this is well into the show. She's done talked about a lot of the things that we already know about, the DNAs, all the documents that have come down. And this is stuff she doesn't normally talk about, like on her Law and Crime show. So it's kind of good to get her on the YouTube and they can open up a little more. So this is her talking about, and I know not everybody believes there was any sort of stalking going on, but this is what she says about what she learned in the beginning. And yes, she has received Forensic Frenzy's work with the Garrett Discovery, and she's still trying to vet some of that stuff. But this is what she had to say about what she learned. Let me get the screen up there. Take it with a grain of salt. Believe it if you want, or believe it if you don't want it to. I don't, that's all on you. I'm just playing what she said.
Tell you though.
And I have no reason to distrust Ann Jeanette. Like, I wouldn't put her up here if she was one of these crazy bubbly waters type Tommy Jude characters, but she's not.
The moment I heard the name Bryan Kohberger that morning, and I was sent his photograph from Washington State University, I went looking for him on social media. And I happened upon this Instagram account. I've got the pictures, like the screen grabs in my phone somewhere. And when I talk more about this another time, I'll go into it further on what I found. But there was an Instagram account that looked legit, like it was Bryan Kohberger. It followed his sister, followed Maddie, followed Keely. I believe it also followed Xana, and also followed the Washington State University Cougars and all this stuff. And it had one video that had been posted on there. And that one video, it was kind of violent. It was really weird. I have it in my phone somewhere.
And this is the same thing that Christy and Olivia said when they were very first interviewed about this case. When they received the name before the arrest, they immediately went to search, and they saw a very disturbing video. And I never heard much more about it. And I never talked about it. And then I'll be damned if she didn't bring it up last night. And from what I know what I heard the Gonzalez daughter and mother say. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that about the video.
And it had been posted, I believe, in October of 2022. It was only one post. Well, I took screen grabs of all of it, screen recorded the video, and then shortly thereafter, the thing disappears, right? And so it looked legit, but who knows if it was really legit or not. And so as recently as January, Ann Taylor said again, there's no social media connection between Bryan Kohberger and these victims. We haven't heard, the prosecution doesn't say anything when she says these things. So we don't know if they've found some sort of connection at all, that he was looking at them on social media or whatever. I mean, I will tell you, when his name first came out, it's like, what? Like, this guy, like, who is this guy? Like, nobody, and I know the Gonsalveses had never heard his name before. At least they hadn't. I'm sure none of the other victims' families had. So it's like, what the heck? How does this happen? How does, and he's innocent until proven guilty, but how does somebody who doesn't know any of these people potentially walk into a house that's got this weird shape, do this to people he doesn't know? There was one person who was targeted in this case. That is my opinion, and that other people were sadly harmed in this and killed. Oh my God, Cindy. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't even get to the Steve Gonsalves interview, but maybe we'll come back to that. So anyway, I was reading through some of the court documents, and I think that I have a theory, and I'm going to say to you, I've not confirmed this. This is my theory. This is me wondering, and I think I'm like, have I found the connection? Do I know what the connection is? Or is there even a connection? And again, I want to be clear. This is me wondering out loud. I have not verified this with anybody. But when I was in Moscow, and I interviewed, it wasn't on camera, but I interviewed the bride.
Okay, sorry, I had to step away for 1 second. My son needed me to come to the door. So that was her talking about what she looked up, right, on Bryan Kohberger. Now, we know we can't verify any of it, but that is the same thing we had heard prior. It's very similar to the same things that Forensic Frenzy talked about on her channel with the Garrett discovery. And I had no reason to not believe the Garrett discovery stuff, because the Garrett discovery stuff came out long before she covered it on her channel, right? It had been out there for a while. It was out right afterwards, and it lined up with what the family said, and it's lining up with what Anjanette said as well. Now she's about to move in. We heard a little bit of discussion on that stuff we watched earlier about the driver, the private driver, and I think she's going to she's not going to do it right now, but I think she has decided to go ahead and air the interview she's about to talk about, But when she first went to Moscow investigating the crime for her show on Law and Crime, she interviewed the private driver. So we're gonna play that now because there's this one, and then did she? Where's the timestamp here? Let me see. Okay, did I miss it when I had to walk away? Did she talk about the Winco stuff? Sorry, guys, as I had to walk out. Dolphin, did she mention the Winco stuff yet? If you can answer me, somebody. I know I'm on a delay on one thing and not on the other. I've got two devices open. Okay, maybe can anybody tell me, did she mention the Winco stuff when I walked away? Sorry. No? Okay, because I may have my timestamps backwards. Okay, so I think I do, actually. So here she's going to, well, actually, I don't know now. I'll check it in a minute. But right now she's going to talk about the rideshare guy, and then we'll go and look at the other stuff.
Rideshare driver who often drove Kaylee, Xana, Maddie, and the other roommates. He drove Maddie and Kaylee home that night. I talked to him for over an hour. He was very open. He didn't want his name used. He didn't want to be on camera, but we talked for a really long time. Really nice guy. And one thing that he told me was that, he lives in Pullman, and his wife, it was not uncommon for her to go to Moscow a couple times a day. They lived in Pullman. Moscow's like 10 minutes away, maybe 12. And all of the better shopping is in Moscow. So she needs to go to the fabric store, she goes to Moscow. Needs to go to the grocery, she goes to Moscow. The shops over there are just better. So I'm going to pull this up. And again, this is me wondering out loud, my theory.
Okay, here she goes, Dolphin.
It may not even be a theory. It may just be me wondering out loud, as I said before. So this is a document where the state is saying to the court, okay, we have business records, other records we want to introduce, and we just threw all of these, and I'm looking. We've got the Linda Lane footage. I showed you guys that a couple of weeks ago. And I know you've seen it before. It's not like I was revealing anything new. We've got Amazon financial and user records for Bryan Kohberger, Albertson's surveillance footage, Bank of America bank records for BF and Xana Kernodle, bagel shop surveillance video. And a lot of these surveillance videos are probably from the morning that this happened, the early morning hours where they were tracing, you could see the white car going around. Corner Club video surveillance. We know that is going to be Kaylee and Maddie at the Corner Club. They're going to, I'm sure, do a timeline and show where all of the victims were before this, before they were killed. But one thing that caught my attention was Winco. We have Winco financial records for Bryan Kohberger. And then we also have Winco financial records and video surveillance for BF and DM and Kaylee and Maddie and or Xana. So Winco is a grocery store. And the grocery store is in Moscow. And I actually went there several times when I was in Moscow. Pulling it up for you. I had it pulled up before and I exited out by accident. I went there several times because my hotel was like right there. So I would just go over there and run over there and get a drink, some drinks. I drink a lot of water. I drink a lot of whatever. And so I went to Winco. Guys, I promise I'm coming back to you right now. Sharing my screen to show you the Winco because I have this whole thing I want to do.
She's a little bit of a hot mess. She's in the
and I just clicked the wrong. I took you took you inside the Winco. I don't care about the interior of the Winco.
You just have them producers.
Let's see. Here we go. Cindy probably knows about the Winco. Here we go.
And of course, I was in chat just typing away stuff. I couldn't help myself. I like her.
I'm bringing up the Winco, guys. I promise you. I feel like this is why I need somebody to like help me with this. Okay, so here's the Winco. There's the Winco. It's like it's in this.
Oh, the neighbor that Brian talked to, that he allegedly asked about or brought the crime up to. Is that what he asked him? Did he think it was a crime of passion? Where did we hear? Was that on an interview, Truth and Dolphin? I think it was on an interview, wasn't it? Someone did.
This shopping center. I actually liked it. I went there. It's not a bad little grocery. There's the hotel where I stayed. It was like this Best Western, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I stayed there and then I stayed at some Marriott or whatever. So here's the Winco. I find it interesting that at trial, they're looking to introduce Winco financial records of Bryan Kohberger, but then also Winco financial records and video surveillance for the victims. Now, I could be totally off base here, but I'm like, is there a correlation? Is there a correlation? Is there something showing that Bryan Kohberger was at Winco at the same time and around the same time as these victims? I don't know. But another interesting little piece of this, and let's leave the Winco parking lot through Google Maps, if we could. So here's Winco. Out here, let's get out of this parking lot. I'm going to do my best. Okay, so here's my hotel where I stayed. Guess right outside that Winco, here's the Winco. I'm coming out of the parking lot, right? And there's a stoplight right up here at the corner. Right here. That's where Bryan Kohberger got that ticket. Remember he got pulled over in 2022 and he got some ticket from the Latah County Sheriff's Office. It was at that intersection and it was late at night. It was after 11 o'clock and Bryan Kohberger was a night owl. But that's where the citation was issued on August 21st, 2022. It was just kind of like it wasn't some like crazy citation. I mean, it was like for like, I forget what it was. Seatbelt violation. Thank you, Salty Sleuths. But he was pulled over right there. So I'm like,
it was funny because she kept calling out to me in Forensic Frenzy at different times, which of course got me and her chatting it up in chat. So it was all good.
Like, is this the connection? Is this where the prosecution is going with them? Did he somehow happen upon them at the grocery store? I don't know. I could be off base, but it makes me wonder if this is the prosecution theory. Did he happen upon them at the Winco? We also, if we go back into the Winco, and maybe I don't have to make you dizzy by doing all this stuff anymore, but there are also records for Ulta that the prosecution wants to introduce. They are business records for Ulta. There are business records for Joann Fabrics. There's also a Marshall's receipt for Bryan Kohberger, Marshall's financial records. And then I know they found a Marshall's receipt and they seized it from his apartment. And there's some Petco records for Kaylee Gonsalves. All of those things are in that Palouse Mall shopping center. So it just got me wondering, I'm like, is that what they're going to say? That because they keep saying, Ann Taylor says he was never at that house. He was never stationary around that house. Well, I find it hard to believe with the way that this house, the location of this house, that you would just like happen upon this house some night and never have been there before. It just seems like a very strange thing that the way it's tucked in there off of Queen Road, and then the way you have to go there, it seems really odd to me. What do you guys think of that?
And what did we think about that over here, a week ago? We thought it was a damn good possibility, didn't we? And when she began to talk about it last night, I was like, oh, Ann, Jeanette, you go, girl. Young Black economist, honestly, I think I listen to a lot of theories, but cannot say for sure if that's the state's case. Does anyone know? We don't know the state's case. We know the probable cause of the case. Does the state say they believe BK wanted to commit the perfect crime? They haven't come out and said that in so many words, but it appears that's what he wanted to do, if he's the guy, because he almost did. We have to remember what he did study, right? And we also have to remember, if he didn't leave that sheath in that house, if he's the perpetrator, with his DNA on it, by the way, because they're not going to get around that. And if they go that planted route, wow, more power to them. But anyway, yeah, so he almost did pull off the perfect crime if it was him, because he absolutely had a plan for that phone. And I think that's going to be laid out in court. But Dolphin, are you surprised that she got to the same conclusion that we did about the Winco stuff and the connection to the shopping center? I mean, it didn't take, not everybody has done that, looked at that particular, that I have seen out there yet, like we've done. So I found it interesting. Right. This was less than 2 miles from the home, right? And we know he was an avid runner. So could you run? And then when you get down to Walenta, you can see the entire house from Walenta Road behind the home, right? There's little ways to stand around, and you blend in, because college kids are walking around everywhere on foot. So it's not abnormal to see a guy jogging or also walking. So did he take a run, or like Forensic Frenzy suggested, which we had also suggested, did he just sit in a car and watch? Do they see the car sitting there watching, and during like daylight hours where they get a better view of it? Like once they realize this stop took place here, and maybe they noticed the girls were all here shopping on that particular day when they went through those warrants, and they were like, wait a minute, this matches up the same day of that stop. Let's go back and review this and this and this. Do they see him there throughout the day, right? That's going to be interesting, because if it's daytime and they have the car there, we're going to see a lot more than we do in that grainy nighttime stuff. A lot more. We know the stop was done, Dolphin, 11:30 at night. So that's going to be a dark body cam footage. But whatever they got from this shopping center, I wonder how much of that is daytime activity. Did he follow the girls around all day long, watching their activities or whatever? Because remember, this is back in August. Yeah, you wouldn't use your own car. So what are we going to do? Are we going to rent a car and leave a paper trail? Because that was brought up 2.5 years ago. Everybody's like, why would you take your own car? Why would you take your own phone? Well, if you rent a car, you're leaving a paper trail, because you got to hand over your what do you call it? Your credit cards. If you borrow your friend's car, you're putting your friend at risk now instead of yourself. You're gonna walk from Pullman. He knew this is a cloud-based forensics guy. Remember that. A lot of his circumstantial evidence is cloud-based forensics. Does he know enough to know those cameras are probably shitty and can't see anything good at night? They're not going to pick up my car clearly. They're not going to see me in it clearly. If I do something with my phone that's crazy, drop it in a Faraday bag, or go over to Wawa first and drop it off and go back and get it later. Who knows? I'm just speculating at this point, but we can't take away from the guy. There's a lot of very smart criminals out there, not just Kohberger. And that should scare everybody. There aren't just a bunch of dumbass criminals in this world. There are some very methodical killers who are very prolific at what they do, right? And they study it. Shit, Horman had a how to do it all book. Checking off the stuff that, oh, that was a mistake. Don't ever do that again. Oh, look, DNA is coming out. I better be more careful with this. He had an entire checklist that he had to go through. BTK had something very similar. We are going to think that this guy, if he's the guy, didn't have something similar. Because we're fooling ourselves if we don't. Because I don't know if this guy did or didn't do it, but I don't understand why we can't think that he may have, right? I get all the one. I don't get some of the ones saying he didn't do it because they can't back it up with anything substantial. But we do have a lot of probable cause. We don't know a whole lot more until we get to trial. Phone signal hidden to reappear at new location. Exactly. We studied Faraday bags in the very beginning of this case. And lo and behold, in the Delphi trial, it came out in trial. When police collect a cell phone, it needs to go into a Faraday bag immediately to stop all communications with that phone. Therefore, it's not contaminated, right? That is a protocol. So, you don't think a criminology student is aware of that? The Reddit survey was his checklist, right, Dolphin? Was that his first preparation into it? Yeah. Things like that can't be discounted. It doesn't mean we're like, oh my God, he's guilty, because we do believe in innocent until proven guilty, and I absolutely believe in basic constitutional rights should be given. And if there's an issue with the investigation, I will probably be the first one to point it out. Or if this doesn't sit well with me, or this is weird until maybe I figure it out later, luckily this judge is starting to unseal things. Will he go back and retroactive that and unseal past stuff? I don't know. We hope so. Yeah, we know, Catherine, that allegedly, there people have been there, and some have lost signal, some pick it up, so it's spotty at best. And I get that around here where I live in the rural area, but I know where my phone's going to stop pinging or lose signal. So let me tell you this: if Kohberger, who was familiar with Wawawee, right after he moved there, it became one of his favorite locations. He's going to know if his phone's not working in those areas, right? He's going to know that. So is there a chance he went to Wawawee but I could dispute that out on the witness stands. So, okay, with that fact that the Wawawee has zero network, could you have driven out there and dropped your phone off? But then you got to go back to the timeline of when he allegedly left his apartment and when he's seen going toward Moscow, right? Then according to Ann, there's some kind of 7-minute discrepancy. That car's going the wrong direction. Was it going to take the phone somewhere? Got it where it needed to go, turn around and went back the other direction. And like Dolphin's pointing out, a burner email via the VPN at 4:39. And Jeanette talks about that as well. She honed in on that quickly too. Dolphin says she believes in innocent until proven guilty too, but I would love for someone to give me a good explanation for why. While this man was out driving, he's on the side of the road and logging in to a burner email. Exactly. If you're just out driving around and your phone just picked signal back up or is about to pick signal back up, why you got to pull over and log into an iPad? Your phone's working. You got your map on the way home, which you should know that route because if you're a nighttime driver, because remember Ann said he used to visit Wawawee Park, and then as the weather changed and it got colder and classes started, blah, 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 he began to ride around more. So he should have been familiar with the route he normally would drive, right? Did he need GPS to get him all the way there? I doubt it. It's one big loop. Jack says 1125 Ridge Road is a long way from Wawawee. Yeah, it is. Bye-bye alibi. Yeah. Oh, well, so is Indian Hills Road, 700 block of Indian Hills, and all that going toward. And we showed the map the other night of how you come right out of Indian Hills Road, and you go right into that area where the Ridge Road is at, and right the route you would take to pass that building at 11:25 that captured that car. You know, we need good footage of the car, because honestly, it is all dark, grainy footage, and I can't be for certain what kind of car it is. My mind tells me it looks like a 2015 Elantra, but I've seen a bunch of 2015 Elantra. You don't know how many's out there until you start deep diving a case. And I swear, for 2 years, me and Danger would constantly pass back pictures to one another. Like, dude, here's an Elantra. Dude, one time he sent me a picture of an Elantra, the color of Xana's car, and on the back of the trunk was a key. We have no idea why that key was there. And my first instinct to him back was, Elantra is key. I felt like Xana was telling me that. The Elantra is key. I don't know. There's a ton of them cars out there, and I didn't realize it until this case popped off, and everywhere I went, I was seeing damn Elantras of all kinds of colors and shapes. So, you know, to me, it does looks similar to an Elantra, but I'm not no expert for sure. Evidence support BK traffic cams show white car turn off to W Park. Where is the photo? You are telling me that a traffic cam shows the white car turning to the park? Where? That's not in a document. Anne didn't say that in the court hearing. She said it went the different direction. She didn't say anything about why we park or turning into the park. If that's out there, link me, because I've not seen that, and I don't think anybody else I deep dive this case with have seen that, or we would have been on all over that. If you're out in the boonies, you're not going to need to worry about being hacked. So why the VPN? Because you don't want to be traced, right? And don't tell me auto VPN. Automatic VPN doesn't kick in unless your device is picking up an unsecured Wi-Fi. And absolutely correct, because I got a VPN on my phone too. And that's the way my shit works. You meant direction. Okay, but you said you said there's a camera, right? Let me go back up to it. Did I misread that? Traffic cam show white car turn to W Park. Where is photo he made U-turn? There's not. I said, could he? It was a theory. And theorized he went the other direction. Right? And I theorized, well, yeah, but he could have turned around and went back the other direction. But where do you clearly state it's on camera? I'll see him doing that, and I just don't know where that came from. I haven't seen it myself, so I would like to see it if it's out there. Yeah, I know in the end it's all up to a juror, but this is true crime and we talk about stuff. You know what I mean? In the big scheme of things, none of it matters. We're not jurors. The jurors will get what they get at trial. We have to wait and see what the rest of these filings and these motions and limines end up being, because, you know, that's going to just make the determination of what comes into court and what doesn't. But here in true crime, that's what we do. We talk about true crime. We speculate it. We talk about the theory. You know, that's just part of what we do. Again, though, innocent until proven guilty. Cam shows white car turn west. Where is the photo he went east? What? There's not one. I said it twice. This is okay. I said it was a theory. So there's no any proof he turned anywhere, but where you said there's definitely cameras shows white car turn west. Where did you see that, hun? That's a simple question. You should know exactly where you saw it. Was it in a document or from a YouTube stream? It's something that important. I'd remember where I saw it. And if I missed it, we've read all the documents here and I don't recall seeing it. Yeah. All right, let me see what else I had here. Because I'm telling y'all, I don't mind coming in with opposing opinions and stuff, but stating stuff as a fact without something to back it up, I can't do with that stuff anymore. All right, let me see here. And nothing new dropped over the weekend in the Kohberger case. Nothing new. And I don't think we will get anything until we get rulings on some of those motions in limine. You expect some of those to come down this week? We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Well, I don't really have a whole lot more to present today. There is another case, but it's going to take a little more time than I'm prepared to give it right now, honestly. I was up a lot last night, so I am kind of tired. But I appreciate you guys coming in. I had some things to get off my chest this morning. I would have been fine if nobody was listening, but I'm glad you guys listened. Please give it a thumbs up, because if you believe in what we all believe and you didn't like what you saw me presenting earlier, give it a thumbs up so it can get into the algorithm so others can see it for what it is, you know. Because this is, for me, it's about the victims. And people's like, oh, you know, I've heard people say, don't mention the victims. They shouldn't even be brought up in court. Da, 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 da. If it wasn't for victims, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about the damn case. There's 4 deceased young individuals, no matter how we look at it. They're not going away. If it wasn't for the 4 of them, nobody would be sitting in jail, and we wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. And I talk about true crime, so there's that. Yeah, documents about the dismissals. Well, those are he didn't let it. Those are done. I think we're just onto the motion in limines, because he didn't. You know, the IGG, all that. I think all that was settled as to what's. Maybe some of it hasn't. I'll have to go back and check. But we are still waiting on a lot of rulings. You're right, to come down. We got our April 9th court hearing. That's probably going to be a long hearing, right? Because they're going to discuss a lot of the motions in limine that day, unless they pop off with another hearing before we know it. And let me check the case summary real quick before we go, because I have not looked at that in a few days, because I've been busy looking at other stuff, and I just really hadn't paid any attention to the case summary. Not in a few days, I don't think. Oh, let me get my other. There we go. Get that down here so I can go super fast to the bottom. And this thing is getting so long. You know what? All the case summary stuff. Get on down there. Okay. If we see anything different here, make it bigger so I can read it. All right, today's the 16th. I just gotta look at the damn date because I'll never look. Oh yeah, let me share my screen real quick. I'd heard about this, but I didn't go look yet. Forgot. Can you guys see that okay? Where's it at? Okay, motion to the page limits are already there, all this. Right, on the 14th, which was what, 2 days ago, there was a subpoena issued. We don't know to who. And that was it, because these are the canceled hearings that were supposed to be held in judge chambers, and then back to the April 9th motion hearing at 9 a.m. And then again on the 16th, they have another one. And then pre-trial is coming up, trial in June, if it doesn't get delayed. So I find it hard to believe they're only going to have 2 motion hearings held before the pre-trial conference. You know, I think some more will get thrown in there. I don't know. There's not a lot of time in there, is there? So they're going to have some long court days on those days. But I wonder where that subpoena was to. We might get to some information about it. We might not. It doesn't say subpoena ducus tecum or whatever, so it's not about anybody's documents. Yeah, it's usually that way. It's usually busy, you know, every year. I got to get some updates on that Karen Reed stuff. especially before that trial starts. This is coming up, right? Firefly's not in here. She knows the dates on that, but we have to get some Karen Read updates going to get that, so we can get caught up before we start watching that trial. I don't really know if there's a lot that I need to learn before trial. You know what I mean? Because it's like there's so much with that case. And Lori's is coming up soon too, right, Joe? Phone data won't reveal airport mode or time switched off manually. If it's blocked signal in a Faraday pouch, the phone signal will just lose frequency. Yeah, we know. Out of range. And frequency versus other things is one thing Cy talked about as his expertise. So we learned a lot about cell phone and data over in the Delphi case. Y'all be surprised at what kind of fuckery can come out of that and what kind of interesting information you can learn. And if you go to the Chad Daybell case, you can learn how accurate that can be, you know? Yeah, at the beginning of April, Pokemon, Karen Read is April 1st. That's right. Well, April Fool's Day, wasn't it? All right, so, gosh, that's not far away. 1, 2. Yeah, I'm going to cut my teeth on trial coverage covering her. So, you seasoned Pokemon, you're a little more seasoned. If you got any advice, shoot it my way. I'm wondering if I should do it on a delay, you know, so we can fast forward through breaks and things like that. Should I start it live? You can't control a lot of things if you're doing it live. So I don't know how best to do it, because I need to cut my teeth on it. And yeah, because I do intend to cover the Kohberger trial, which I will probably do live. And then at the end of it, we may have a discussion. We'll have to wait and see. We'll get our groove on and get our way of doing things over here. We'll get our flow for sure. Truth exposed, you've been through some stuff, girlfriend. You got a lot. You got a lot going on, don't you? Oh, good Lord. All right. Well, again, thank you for all the membership gifts for us. We appreciate it. You guys, like I said, keep an eye on the community. And I'm posting for the regular posts for everyone to see, and I am doing a few members only things. So those are like sneak peek things that I end up releasing to everybody. But I am putting together some stuff for you guys as well, because you deserve something for being here and subbing up the way you're doing. And these, there's needs to be some sort of perks behind subscribing. I'll get there. I'm figuring it out. I'm trying to. If you guys have any suggestions or things you want to see for our community, because this is just as much your community as it is mine, let me know in my comment section over on the YouTube page. You know, I post over there. The engagement means a lot. So if you see a post by me, go check it out. You know, if you like it, give it a thumbs up, comment on it, do the things. It really helps the channel out, and it helps get the information to the algorithm. Not so much me to the algorithm, because I don't really care. It's getting good information out there, so when people do come into the case, they find good information, right? Versus the stuff we saw earlier. So, I'm talking about the Valo case, Pokemon. Yeah, I followed that case since those kids went missing. I watched Lori's trial. I watched Chad's trial. I'm watching all this stuff in Arizona, but there are people who have invested a lot of time in it, you know. And I was in one of Megan's lives the other night. I was in Colby's for a little bit. Kresha had one. Yeah, I bounce around, so I'm right there with you. Are you talking about Karen Read, or are y'all talking about Lori Vallow? Yeah, if you're talking about Karen Read, Pokemon's in there. Shorty is the one to ask. So y'all talking about Karen? Because I saw she had some comment or content on Karen Read, right? I need to go check some of that out. I don't doubt you got receipts, girl. I've been through some shit too. We all have. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go for the day. Thank you for coming in and spending your morning with me, having your coffee, getting your crime fix. I just, you know, I'm not that drama crama bullshit call out channel. I'll call it out if need be as it goes along. But I just wanted to bring some of that out because I did talk about it the other day, and now all I can do is let people make up their own minds. You know what I mean? It's out there. So I'm not the YouTube police, but I know what I will and will not tolerate here for our community. I want it to be a safe, like-minded community where we don't mind opposing, you know, positions, but we can be adults about it and debate about it without the bullshit, put it that way. All right, guys. Well, thank you, Sojoy. I appreciate that. Anyway, you guys have a great afternoon, and I'll see you, well, probably Tuesday morning. I usually take Mondays off. Joe, you're right there. Are you going live in the morning, buddy? You got to let me know later what your plans are. So, all right, with that said, guys, I'll see you when I see you. If not tomorrow at some point, if not on my show, Joe's show, I'll see you back on Tuesday morning. Have a great one.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from Little Yas to